All right, quite frankly, I cannot wait to get into it today. There is just too much to cover. Welcome to the show, everybody. Happy to be here. Super exciting. I'm trying something new on my show prep because as you know, welcome by the way. It's HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide, and I couldn't be happier to be on the stool in front of you. Yeah. Anyways, I'm fine. Anyways. In prepping for the show, I make a point of not watching the clips we're going to watch together ahead of time, so that on the one hand, it doesn't. It's more fun to watch it kind of live with you guys, because when something ridiculous, funny, stupid, aggravating happens, we experience it together. It is a shared moment. And if there's a misunderstood moment and then a correction and those kind of things, that also happens live right in front of you. The other thing that happens, of course, is that I don't just build my show around gotcha shit, where I'm like, I grab a clip and I'm like, I watched this, and I found where my political opponents are fucking wrong, and I'm going to focus on that and act as if that's the entirety of their argument or something. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to burrow through their clips, and take a piece out, or just do stuff that I know pre-watched by somebody else is going to be embarrassing or bad for them. It's more about a topic that there tends to be in one particular political quarter, or even in some who allege to be on our side of the political aisle in that regard, a tendency to bullshit in an enormous way, or to speak in such hyperbolic and combined with an ignorant capacity for just a blatant disregard for reality, that there tends to be that we know they're headed down this road again in some cases. One of the great examples is Jimmy Dore. Now, one of the best ways we can clock how well the country is doing and how well the Biden administration is doing is how many attacks on the president in particular that Dore does. Because when you have a party that in a 50-50 Senate, where one party is absolutely for destroying Social Security. But I mean, Rick Scott's written up the plan. Every 5 years, they wipe out every social program, and you can't have it back unless you have 60 votes, and that'll be that. And hopefully they'll just, I don't know, if their argument is that Democrats are trying to pad their numbers by opening the border and bringing people in, then the argument counter to that would be that they're trying to kill off Democratic voters through starvation and death. So, I don't know if that's the baseline of the argument. Anyways, so yeah, the clapping walrus, where he stares at the ceiling and shows his teeth in lieu of laughing at things. Now, this is, of course, here's Bashar al-Assad. Here's Joe Biden. It's Biden's turn. Assad is apparently looking over Biden's shoulder as things explode in the background. I don't know if this was the best picture they could come up with Assad, but this is probably the most Clint Eastwood shot you could use of Biden. So again, if you're building a narrative, it doesn't really work. But this, no doubt, is going to be about Syria, wouldn't you guess? And so beforehand, I was looking up stuff. I wanted to check in on something real quick. So, and let's see. I'm going to do this real quick. I want to bring something else up. I want to make sure I'm getting something up that doesn't have ads over top of it. Okay, should be okay. Okay, here we go. Now, this is, of course, due to the fact that in northeastern Syria, and there's a reason why that geographically this matters, that that Biden signed off on the bombing of an Iranian-backed ISIS group, essentially, of that camp after they attacked our troops. Now, that happened this week. So I'm guessing from the explosion, from Biden himself, and from the picture of Assad that that's what's going on. We'll just see how badly he gets this. And I'm going to guess that whatever happens, the worst thing that could happen to Syria or anywhere is America. I'm going to guess that that's it. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Janine. Don't worry. It'll believe me, this one's relatively short and sweet, I think, time-wise. Here we go. All right.
Hey, guess what? We're back bombing Syria again.
Okay, hold on. And we're not bombing Syria, just for the record. There are retaliatory strikes going on at camps, at a particular one. U.S. airstrikes target militia-controlled areas in East Syria. Not quite bombing Syria, not quite shock and awe, but we'll let me grab that article while we're at it. Let's see. U.S. airstrikes target militia-controlled areas. Okay. That's okay. So this is, when is this video from? This is from, okay, this is new, and at least new in the posting. And this article's from 5 days ago. So this has been an ongoing thing. This is the article he's citing real quick. Hold on. U.S. airstrikes target militia-controlled areas in Syria. The U.S. military did not identify the targets nor offer any casualty figures from the strikes, which the military said came at the orders of President Joe Biden. U.S. military said on Wednesday it carried out airstrikes in eastern Syria that targeted areas used by militias backed by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard. There is no immediate acknowledgement by Syria's state-run media of the strikes hitting Deir ez-Zor. Iran as well did not acknowledge the attack. Opposition war monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and activist collective Deir ez-Zor 24 said the airstrikes targeted the Ayash camp run by the Fatamun group made of Shiite fighters from Afghanistan. The war monitor reported that at least 6 Syrian and foreign militants were killed in the airstrikes. Okay, so this is, whoops. So this is what we're talking about. All right, here we go.
No kidding. No kidding. As we are pretending that what Putin did in Ukraine is worse than what we did in Syria, Libya, Iran, Afghanistan, Somalia, Yemen.
Somalia? Sorry, for the record, the Russians literally did a blitz to attack the capital of Ukraine. They have seized a third of the country, and their intention that they announce on television is to wipe the existence of the Ukrainian people from the face of the fucking earth. They are currently hiding military gear and personnel in a nuclear facility so that they can fire from it through holes they bashed in the roof of one of the buildings, by the way, without being able to be retaliated against by HIMARS because they figure it'd be a bad thing if somebody blew up that nuclear facility. They have also mined it. They have also placed grenades under dead bodies and in doorways and in drawers so that Ukrainians returning home would get their hands blown off or just killed. But it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Not excusing, by the way, the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, which yours truly and many of the people watching protested against and are very happy that that Biden has gotten us out of Afghanistan, even though I never saw the finally moment from this asshole or any of his crowd.
Ethiopia.
I'm sorry, did we bomb? Have we invaded and attempted to control Ethiopia while wiping it off the face of the earth? It's so fucking stupid.
The Sudan.
Yeah, how do you know we totally declared Somalia part of America? Yeah, it's the 51st state.
As we're doing that in all those other countries, we're still pretending that Russia's uniquely bad for what they're doing in Ukraine.
It is uniquely bad. We have not seized any nuclear facilities to hide our our missile launching technology so that anybody who fires back on us risks a nuclear catastrophe. And by the way, the illusion that Russia isn't in all of those areas he also mentioned. That I don't know why there seems to be, in Jimmy's mind, this idea that if America is out, so goes everyone else. That the only reason the Russians are there, or the Chinese there, or the Iranians, or the Saudis in any of these particular, the only reason, yeah, we should have cleared Hitler's invasion of Poland. Exactly right. They're not remotely close to the same. And by the way, let's understand. Jimmy is blazingly ignorant of even each of those conflicts, but we continue.
The U.S. military said earlier Wednesday it carried out airstrikes in eastern Syria that targeted areas used by militias backed by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard.
Why is he turning into Herbert Lom in the Pink Panther when he reads this? Is it because he was supposed to take out the part where they were the targeted areas used by militias backed by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard? How is that like Russia firing on apartment blocks or shooting cars full of people or mining dead bodies or sending in Wagner and Chechnyan rape squads? How is that? How is that exactly the same, and how dare we? Jesus.
So this sounds like they're doing some proxy thing with Iran.
Does it? It just sounds like it. It sounds like they're doing some proxy thing with Iran. Asshole, we're trying to make the Iran deal come back. We're not in a proxy war with Iran. And by the way, the fact that they're backed by Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard is not the primary action point of those groups. Their purpose is to be anti-Saudi, essentially. They're against the Saudi influence in the area. So they pair up with Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. They pal with ISIS sometimes. They don't give a shit. It's a Shia-Sunni thing.
This has nothing... that's what it's out. Who knows?
Who knows? I didn't read this.
Opposition war...
I just took a piece of this. Who knows? I didn't look this up beforehand. By the way, just for the record, when I pull up these articles, just so you know, this is the actual article. There is nothing stopping Jimmy from taking this article the way it is and doing something like this. Right? Is there any, and this is, by the way, this is the first paragraph. Here's the article. What's wrong with just doing that? Why you got to copy and paste it, put it in a keynote, and eliminate any language that bugs you? And by the way, well, we'll get to this. I have no doubt. Hold on one second.
So this sounds like they're doing some proxy thing with Iran.
Yeah, just what's happening. They're bombing Syria in a proxy thing with Iran. Why the fuck is Iran in Syria? Why is Iran's Revolutionary Guard backing militants in Syria? Why is that okay, though? Why is that somehow the innocent part of this? Why is that the, I mean, the only reason we're there is, we want to fuck with Iran, but we don't want to do it in Iran, so we fuck with it where Iran is attacking other people. Jesus fucking Christ.
Says nothing. That's what it's out. Who knows?
Nobody.
Opposition War Monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights and activist collective Deir Azaz 24 said
Deir Azor.
The airstrikes targeted the Ayash camp run by the Fatimiyon group made up of Shiite fighters from Afghanistan.
I love how Afghanistan, which is a thing also, and America just left there, not still in Afghanistan. So we left Afghanistan, and some of the Shiite fighters, apparently, maybe they've always been, I don't know. Let me just say Afghanistan like it means something.
The War Monitor reported that at least 6 Syrian and foreign militants were killed in the airstrikes.
I'm going mad. I haven't had anything but a chicken leg and some clear broth since Wednesday. I'm cracking up.
The U.S. Military Central Command said the strikes took proportionate, deliberate action intended to limit the risk of escalation and minimize the risk of casualties.
Yeah, it was a paramilitary camp.
It did not identify the targets, nor offer any casualty figures from the strikes, which the military said came at the order of President Joe Biden.
Yeah, he has to sign off on it, fucko. Okay. That came at the order of President Joe Biden.
So why is a president allowed to just bomb another country?
He's not. He's literally, these are areas that are not even controlled by the government of that country and have been usurped by Iranian-backed military militia groups linked to ISIS. So Syria we were in there. There's like 3 fucking countries in there, us, France, and Russia, that have been in and out of there fighting these guys on behalf of the Syrians, even while backing the democratic rebels in Syria who started with the Arab Spring and wanted Syria to become a true democracy, at least as best they could.
Because they're pretending they're fighting terrorism.
Oh, they're pretending they're fighting terrorism. I see. So just to clarify, ISIS-linked militia groups linked to Iran's Republican National Guard acting in a country, like committing terror acts and blowing up places and shooting people in a country that is not their own, is not terrorism.
Even though the United States is the terrorists in
We're the terrorists in
Syria. We're the terrorists.
We are the terrorists in Syria. Now, why would that be? Boy, this sounds very Trumpy. We're the terrorists.
We're the terrorists in Iraq.
We're the terrorists in Iraq. Well, I want to say that Iraq has finally, let's see, where is it? There we go. Baghdad crisis says protests. Okay, here we go. What's the latest? Because Iraq is fucked up right now. I don't know if you know this. This is the current state of Iraq. So it's very January 6th, I guess. Iraq protests turned deadly after prominent cleric quits politics. This just happened. Yeah, this is today. Followers of a prominent Shiite cleric stormed Iraq's presidential palace Monday in an outburst of anger after the cleric vowed to quit politics. The resulting clashes with security forces left at least 12 people dead, health officials said. By late evening, gunfire and explosions were rattling windows across the capital as long simmering political arguments gave way to the deployment of heavy weapons and mortar rounds. None of which are fired by the United States. We have long since moved far away from the functioning structure of Iraqi governance. The violence was the most serious during a summer of unrest in Iraq, which has been without a government for the better part of a year and captive to escalating feuds between political factions, including followers of the cleric Muqtada al-Sadr and rival Shiite groups that are backed by, you guessed it, Iran. Sadr's followers stormed the palace Monday after he announced his final retirement from politics, a threat he has made before during years in the public eye, but one that could have been more serious consequences in the charged political climate, and with the country ruled by a caretaker government. You are free of me, Sadr told his supporters in a resignation message posted Monday afternoon on Twitter. He quit her on Twitter. And now the country's in the shitter. The fallout was immediate. Sadr's supporters, who had been holding a sit-in inside the Green Zone, where government offices and diplomatic missions are located, scaled the gates of the palace, paraded through its ornate halls. Sound familiar? In scenes shared on social media. Soon afterwards, sounds of live ammunition echoed in the capital as security forces descended on the protesters. A little different than how we handled it. Elsewhere in Iraq, Sadr supporters blocked roads and government buildings, including in Basra to the south. The UN mission in Iraq called the developments, quote, an extremely dangerous escalation and implored protesters to withdraw from the Green Zone. Iraqis cannot be held hostage to an unpredictable and untenable situation. The very survival of the state is at stake, the mission said in a statement. Iraq's political dysfunction, a feature of civic life since the U.S. invasion nearly 2 decades ago, entrenched a sectarian kleptocratic order, entered its latest phase in October when Sadr won the largest number of seats in parliament but failed to form a government. After months of political paralysis, Sadr withdrew his lawmakers from the legislature in June and sent his followers to occupy the parliament. Yeah, you read that right. Sent them in to occupy the parliament, and then while they were there, said, fuck it, I'm out. A rival political bloc comprised of Shiite groups backed by Iran has also held protests and sit-ins inside the green zone. What could possibly go wrong? Raising fears of a confrontation, you think? In the background of the political infighting, Iraqis have suffered mightily as state institutions from schools to hospitals deteriorate without government support. The United States is not playing, as a matter of fact, it's our retraction from it and Muqtada al-Sadr's takeover and they're kind of drafting their own government. We have been in a very hands-off situation for the last 6 years, approximately. As all this stuff has taken off, like, okay, you picked him. He won hands down, but then it's all tribal, so they couldn't get parliamentary elections to work. Okay, but we're the terrorists in Iran right now. Jimmy has no idea what's going on in Iran currently. None. He has no idea. Oh, happy birthday, Teresa. By the way, you're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. Enjoy yourself. Also, give me a thumbs up if you feel like it.
We're the terrorists in Libya?
We're the terrorists in Libya. This is current Libya. One second. You and I, America, Jimmy's country, the country where his $1.4 million house is, and where his, whatever, dozens of millions of dollars a year he makes on his show comes from. Libya's worst fighting, excuse me, here you go. Let me blow this up a little bit for you guys. Libya's worst fighting for 2 years suddenly hit the capital, Tripoli, on Saturday. This explains what led the violence, why it matters, and how things will play out. How did Libya fall apart? Libya's fault lines surfaced as local groups took different positions in the 2011 NATO-backed uprising that toppled Muammar Gaddafi. An attempted democratic transition slid out of control as armed groups built local power bases and coalesced around rival political factions, seizing control of economic assets. After a battle for Tripoli in 2014, boy, why does that year stand out? Oh, yeah, that's right. It's the year that Russia attacked Ukraine and took Crimea. And yeah, we'll get to them in a minute. One faction, including most parliament members, moved east and recognized Khalifa Haftar as military chief, eventually setting up a parallel government. The United Nations-backed agreement led to a new internationally recognized government in Tripoli, but eastern factions spurned the deal, and Haftar's Libyan National Army attacked the capital in 2019. Okay. But we blew them to pieces because we're the terrorists, I suppose. Nope. No, that's not how it worked out. The squabbling armed factions that controlled Western Libya came together to back the Tripoli government against Haftar, and they repelled his assault in 2020 with the help from Turkey. They'll come in later. Turkey's a big player in a lot of this stuff, leading to a ceasefire and a new UN-backed peace process. How did the latest dispute unfold? The peace process brought in a new government of national unity under Prime Minister Abdulhamid al-Dabeiba. Dabeiba? Let's just call him Dabeiba. With a mandate to oversee national elections scheduled for December 2021, but there was no agreement on rules for the vote, and the process collapsed. That's a little tough. So I blame Smartmatic and Mike Pillow. In eastern Libya, the parliament declared Dabeiba's government illegal and appointed a new one under Fatih Bashaga. Dabeiba rejected its move, saying he would cede power only after an election. Meanwhile, the Western Libyan factions that had joined together, blah, 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 and then they're back. Okay, so this is the current state of it. A car burns in the street during clashes in Tripoli, Libya, as faction fighting ensued across the weekend. How does it affect, I guess this is the big question, how does it affect Libya's oil? Control of the revenues from Libya's main export, its oil output of 1.3 million barrels a day, has long been the biggest prize for all the main political and military factions. You don't say. Really? We didn't just take it? I would assume we own those. Don't we own those? Didn't America take Libya's oil when Gaddafi died? Didn't we seize them? I mean, aren't we? No? All right. Groups have repeatedly shut down output as a tactic to put pressure on the government in Tripoli, where all foreign oil sales revenue is channeled into the central bank through international agreements. Forces aligned with Haftar, whose sway extends across much of the territory that includes main oil fields and export terminals, have been responsible for the biggest shutdowns in recent years. The last shutdown, which reduced exports by about half, ended when the baby replaced the National Oil Corporation head with an ally of Haftar. Well, that was nice of him, I suppose. A move some saw as an effort to court the Eastern commander and make him more open to a political deal. That may be enough to stop another shutdown while pro-Bashaga factions work out their next move. But with Libya's political tangle so far from resolution, there seems to be little likelihood that oil exports will stay untouched for very long. So there you go. That's the current what we're doing we're the terrorists in Libya right now.
We're the terrorists in Afghanistan. We're the terrorists in Somalia.
We're not in Afghanistan.
All
right. Again, fucking hell. We're the terrorists in Somalia. I want to say, let's see. Let's see. What's the latest news on that? Because we'll get a little bit of history, but there you go. Began with humanitarian intervention. There you go. Most of our Somalia interdiction came and, in some ways in line with what we should have done in Rwanda in a lot of places, in a lot of ways. A lot of times it's because there's just a massive slaughter going on of civilians, and we're trying to make inroads and stabilize the country because, our country wants to make deals with countries that are stable and they fall apart, and then a lot of people are getting murdered, and it's pretty awful. And if you want to have any idea what it's like, go watch Tears of the Sun. Oof. Somalia has long been has long been the overlooked theater in the U.S. counterterrorism campaign. From time to time, drone strikes in Somalia, military advisors assisting Somali partner forces, or an attack in the region by al-Shabaab makes the news, and then coverage goes quiet again. Yet Somalia has been at the center of many of the toughest counterterrorism legal and policy questions: how to most effectively support multinational forces and underdeveloped local partners, whether a terrorist group for which the local objectives often seem to overshadow the global jihad is and remains truly at war with the United States, what role U.S. strikes should play, if any, alongside a larger campaign, how to manage risk to U.S. forces in unstable territory, how to deploy civilian aid in a very dangerous environment, to name a few. The Biden administration finds itself struggling with all of these questions. Now, in the face of what some argue is a growing al-Shabaab threat, and in context of a larger commitment to reduce global U.S. counterterrorism operations, yet the counterterrorism solution in Somalia ultimately is less about getting military operations right and more about building stability and good governance in a country that has for far too long known little of either. The U.S. military, and by the way, according to Jimmy, what we came in there to do in the 90s was just to kill people and take stuff. U.S. military involvement in Somalia began with a humanitarian intervention in the early 1990s as part of the UN effort to provide famine relief, and is marked in public memory by the disastrous Battle of Mogadishu in October 93. Although that conflict was primarily against Somali warlords who were impeding the distribution of food aid, the battle was the harbinger of the kind of fighting the United States would face in counterterrorism operations in the post-9/11 period. During the battle, U.S. Special Operations Forces on a mission to capture a high-value target were pinned down by militants and sympathetic locals. When the battle finally ceased, 19 U.S. soldiers were dead, 73 were wounded, 1 was captured, and 2 Black Hawk helicopters were down and destroyed. Hundreds of Somalis, including civilians, were killed in the battle. The searing image from the debacle was a horrible spectacle of dead U.S. soldiers dragged through the streets. Operatives from the then-nascent al-Qaeda organization were, according to books by Lawrence Wright and Ali Safan, present in Mogadishu at the time and played a role in the downing of the U.S. helicopters. In response to the tragedy, Congress imposed a variety of limitations on U.S. operations in Somalia. President Bill Clinton removed most U.S. forces well before a congressional deadline. Long after the United States retreated from Somalia, the conflict continued to shape U.S. thinking on urban and guerrilla warfare in general, involvement in Somalia specifically, and oversight of soft operations. Chastened by the Black Hawk Down experience, U.S. policymakers largely stayed out of Somalia's civil strife and limited U.S. efforts to at tracking down al-Qaeda operatives in Somalia until, of course, 9/11. In which case we went after it. The ICU's Mujahideen Youth Movement, or al-Shabaab, fled south and started an insurgency against the internationally recognized Somali Transitional Federal Government. Seeing the instability in Somalia, the African Union in early 2007 authorized a peacekeeping force known by its acronym AMISOM to protect the TFG, accomplishing, this is, by the way, the African unions, like the European Union, this is them asking for help from the UN. This isn't us just dropping in and strong-arming them. Okay. We continue. If I dive down he's just gish galloping.
Terrorists in Yemen? We're the terrorists.
We're the terrorists in Yemen. Now, many of you know that Jimmy is a big believer that Russia should be allowed to do anything it wants in Ukraine. Anything. Kill anybody, rape squads, all that stuff. Mines, like strafe bombing, any of it. Because, allegedly, the place is run by Nazis. That there are, that 9 Azov soldiers who were broomed out in the ensuing years after Yanukovych. By the way, Jimmy's pro-Yanukovych. He's the most thing he was upset. Yeah, stealing children, abducting 800,000 Ukrainians. Jimmy has no idea where they are on a map. I agree with. Okay, but also he thinks that simply because there's a nascent number of Nazis in a country, that means Russia can do whatever the fuck it wants. Carte blanche, right? How many times have we seen this? Every time Russia does something horrifying, brings in Chechen soldiers, brings in Wagner Group people, any of that stuff, what's Jimmy's rationale? There's tons of Nazis in there, and so there you go. How can you be pro-Yanukovych? He thinks that the Ukrainians would rather have Yanukovych, and he believes that all of Ukraine's problems started at the toppling of Yanukovych, who, by the way, escaped to Russia with the help of the FSB. That's it. Here we go. So if Jimmy's standard is that in 2014, some neo-Nazis in Ukraine were bragging that they helped with Euromaidan. They were 8% of the people there, but 100% of why it succeeded, which is posturing horseshit of the level of like David Duke saying he's why America was great, that the white people like him are why America's amazing, those kind of assholes. Yeah, it's the same jabbery shit you always hear from racial supremacists. And that was in 2014. This would be Houthi supporters in Yemen, in the territory where the civil war is going on with the fighting with Saudi Arabia, where this is going on. This is last year. Yeah, see that hand signal right there? I know you're thinking, wow, these guys look like Laura Ingraham fans. Not precisely. Matter of fact, if she was there, I guess they wouldn't even know if she was blonde because she would have to cover her head. This is where the Houthi rebels, of which there is a split, by the way. Not all Houthis are created equal. This major group, though, the group that seized a bunch of anti-aircraft weapons and some other stuff from the government and have been using them in their part. Yeah, they have been for their part of the battle. They are in this video. This is last year. This is 2021. This isn't 2014 under two governments ago. And in this, they are saying, "Death to America, curse the Jews." And I think it's like, I want to say Hail Islam. What was there's another, "Death to America, death to Israel." Yeah, and curse the Jews. That's what it was. So death to America, death to Israel, curse the Jews. That's these folks. And so, according to the Jimmy Dore standard, if that means we have to side with the Saudis to strafe bomb their entire country, I guess I don't even know why he's got any complaints. If we're the terrorists in Yemen, apparently this is Jimmy telling you that since these guys are giving a Nazi salute and are literally giving a Nazi salute and saying death to the Jews, that these guys are Nazis. Therefore, anybody who's against them, like, because they're against fascists, so according to Jimmy, Antifa is a terrorist organization. That's what he's trying to say, I think, finally.
Today's strikes were necessary to protect and defend U.S. personnel. Who said that? Central Command spokesman Colonel Joe Buccino. He said that. The colonel added the attack was in response to an August 15th attack targeting U.S. forces. The attack saw drones allegedly launched by Iranian-backed militias target the Al-Tanf garrison used by American forces. U.S. Central Command described the assault as causing 0 casualties and no damage at the time. So they're saying to justify the United States bombing Syria.
Bombing Syria. Yeah, we just straight, but not camps that are and areas controlled by groups that are not Syrians. These folks are not, they're Afghan fighters and other foreign fighters that are at a Iran paid for camp in Syria. Not Syrians. These are not Syrians. Not these kind of not Syrians. These not Syrians. Those are different not Syrians. That's us bombing Syria.
They're saying that Iran bombed us first in Syria, even though there were no
No, they're not saying Iran bombed us first. They're saying Iran backs the militias. They're using very careful language here.
Casualties and no damages.
By the way, hold on one second. Let's see. Syria. US. This is recently. Here's. Sometimes you wonder what is. It's not really what Jimmy is against, right? Because of course he's against the country he sits in, growing old, fat, and rich. That's the part he hates. But in the meantime, U.S.-backed Syrian Kurdish forces moved to halt brutal torture at IS camp. So this is the Syrian Democratic Forces. These are the guys we back. Al-Hol, Syria, August 28th. U.S.-backed Syrian Kurdish security forces. And that's the important thing right here, Kurdish. See those guys? This is the part. If you guys remember when Trump pulled people out of Syria in the Kurdish regions? You guys remember that? And how we abandoned the Kurds that were helping us fight ISIS, and the Syrians and the Turks just basically squozed them and killed them? Remember that shit? Yeah, that's why we're still there. 100%. The only reason why we're still in northern Syria, besides the fact that we're helping the Syrian Kurdish forces fight ISIS, and they couldn't do it without our material support currently. The other reason is that the day we leave, the Syrians and the Turks squash them. The Kurds will get wiped out. Now, this is one of the operations. Okay. Have launched a new operation targeting Islamic State sleeper cells in a large northeastern detention camp. This is the same area. This is not, by the way, I don't know if Jimmy thinks that these folks are bombing Syria because they are fighting here against this particular camp, where violence has reached record levels. At least 44 people, including 14 women, have been killed this year in the Al-Hol camp, which holds internal refugees and families of suspected IS fighters. We launched the campaign at this time because of the urgent need brought on by the escalation increase in violent cases by IS cells in the Al-Hol camp. Ali Hassan, a spokesperson for the internal security forces operating in Syria's semi-autonomous northeast. That's the area we're talking about. Currently, the entire area of that part of the country does not recognize Syria as their government, does not recognize. This would be the Donbass of this argument in Jimmy's world. Like you know how Jimmy thinks the Donbass is just Russians, just leave it to him, just give it to him. Okay, same thing in the Northeast. He told Reuters the victims showed signs of brutal torture, were often killed with silenced pistols or rifles and their bodies hidden in sewage pipes. Compared to last year, there's an increase in the pace of operations within the camp, especially during and after the attempted prison break. He was referring to January riot in northeastern Syrian prison, where IS suspects attempting a jailbreak took over part of the detention facility and dozens escaped. Hassan said perpetrators of the violence in Al-Hol likely had contact with IS units still roaming free. Al-Hol houses about 55,000 people, including Syrians, Iraqis, and other nationals who fled IS-held areas as the jihadists faced an onslaught by the U.S.-backed Syrian Democratic Forces. The UN Refugee Agency in June described the situation at the camp as catastrophic, saying an additional safe space should be created to protect women and girls from attacks. Agreed. But Jimmy doesn't want us to be there at all. Oh, and let's see. See if I can find this. Okay, also, this is, here's 2019. So anybody recall when we left Syria, in like big sections of Syria under Trump? And the only reason we held this one place in the Northeast is basically to separate the two IS forces, because if they linked up, they would wipe out the Kurds in the areas along with the Syrians and the Turks. It would be a bloodbath. We know this. They know this. Everybody knows this. This isn't even new. There was a video circulating of a Syrian soldier, a conscripted by the Syrian army, who did not want to fight. And to make an example of him, he was beaten brutally, and they videotaped it. One of the things they did was take a sledgehammer to all of his extremities, his hands, his ankles, his feet, smashing them to pieces. And then after he was dead and they were kicking him around a little bit, there's video of this guy cutting his head off. Okay, and the idea behind this was that this was supposedly, the assumption was at the time that this was ISIS or someone else putting this video up. No. The entire killing and torture of this dude was done by the Wagner Group. And the guy who filmed it was later, they used facial recognition software to pick out who this guy was. A Russian-speaking man who filmed the torture and killing of a prisoner in Syria has been identified as a member of Wagner, a Russian private military company with ties to the Kremlin that has aggressively expanded into the Middle East and Africa in recent years. Everywhere Jimmy wants us to leave, these guys move in. The video, which appears to have been taken in 2017, showed several men. It's weird that the Russians felt like they could just kind of let their freak flag fly after 2016. Isn't that weird? Wonder who came into power in 2017 in the United States might be comfortable looking the other way or telling us then. Okay, the video, which appeared to have been taken in 2017, showed several men in military-style clothing beating a prisoner with a sledgehammer, then beheading him, amputating his arms with a sapper's trowel, and setting his body on fire using gasoline or another accelerant. The mercenary, who has been identified as Stanislav D. by Novaya Gazeta, the newspaper, is a former police officer from the Stavropol region in southern Russia. In leaked documents, he wrote that he joined Wagner in 2016 to, quote, protect the interests of the Russian Federation abroad. The Kremlin said on Thursday it had no knowledge of the incident. I mean, the video was out and all over the place by the time. This has absolutely no relation to Russian soldiers, no matter what is being published about it, said a spokesperson for Vladimir Putin. Meanwhile, the same guys are in Ukraine right now, on behalf, sent by the Russians into there. This is not, and again, I will put this up against the U.S.'s reaction and the citizens' reaction to the treatment of Iraqi soldiers and non-combatants and other people who were scooped up, and the leaked pictures of them in stress positions and all that kind of stuff, and them being, sleep deprived and all that kind of stuff, as fucking horrifying, and the United States citizenry being justly horrified and against it. And I still to this day believe that the Bush administration, with the help of you and others with, not you, but you in the, that you, not this you. Yeah. In the White House, you know, writing like this enhanced interrogation horseshit was garbage, illegal, and I'm not for it, and it is not exemplary of the United States, nor do I ever want it to be, full stop. That said, that's never the message coming out of Russia. The message from them is, fuck them. I don't know what you're talking about. Fuck them. The newspaper has not released the man's full last name in order to protect his family from potential reprisals. They have since, by the way. The victim is reported to be Mohammed Taha al-Asmal Abdallah of Deir ez-Zor. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar from what Jimmy just read to you? Deir ez-Zor? Yeah, that's one of the areas where there's a human rights group keeping track. Yes, it's a very dark episode. We'll get to silly stuff soon. It's just, this is what Jimmy's pulling out of his hat, so we got to address it. Whom the contractor is accused of deserting from the Syrian army. He didn't want to fight against his fellow Syrians on behalf of Bashar al-Assad. Family members had confirmed his death to local press, saying he had returned to Syria from Lebanon in 2017 when he was summoned to fight, but later deserted. Snippets of the video have been posted online since 2017, but the full footage was uploaded last week to a closed VK group for members of Wagner. That's the Russian Facebook. That's VK. Yeah. Just to clarify. And what Jimmy's saying is that no one's been attacked, like no one was attacked. So we bombed them because they didn't do anything. As if we don't try people for like attempted murder, or we should give them, they shot at us, but they just missed. So we should give them another shot. It's so weird.
They're saying Iran bombed us in Syria. There were no casualties, no damage. But they wanted to bomb back.
No, again. Do you have to wait until they get it right?
That's the official story. This is the
right. Yeah, we know.
Official story. Sounds crazy and
no, it doesn't.
Stupid. The official story sounds corrupt.
It sounds corrupt, especially when you cherry pick from the actual story and only choose parts of it to put in your little highlights. Oh, look, he's got red text.
Zor is a strategic province that borders Iraq and contains oil fields. You're kidding.
And? So the Iranians are trying to seize the oil fields in Syria? Is that what you're telling me?
You're kidding. Wait a minute. That's where the oil fields are?
We're keeping the oil. We have the oil. The oil is secure. We left troops behind only for the oil.
Yeah, that's when Trump ditched the Kurds and allowed them to be slaughtered by the Syrians and the Turks.
Obviously, the United States can't leave Syria, because then how would it fight the people who attacked the U.S. soldiers who are in Syria?
Yeah, that's not why we're there. We're there so that the Turks and the Syrians don't murder the Kurds.
So we're now bombing people in Syria. We're bombing Syrians.
No, we're not. You just read that they're Afghani and foreign fighters who are working on behalf of Iran in a semi-autonomous region.
In Syria.
They're not Syrians.
For attacking
and you're not serious.
United States military.
And I don't know what's going on with that shirt. Seriously.
In Syria. Why are they in Syria?
They're there to protect the Kurds who've been helping us fight ISIS both in Iraq and in the border regions of Syria and Turkey. And when we leave, they get murdered. That's why.
We got to leave them there. Because why? Because we're stealing their oil.
We're not steeping. We're not stealing their oil. That's a different area even of the country.
Oil. We have the oil. The oil is secure.
Hold on one second. Let me bring up a map. Hold on. Where's a good one? Now, where's this? Okay. So, Yeah, let me blow this guy up. This is going to be fun. So, where's this region that we're talking about? Say it with me now. The northeastern part of Syria, right? That's what we're doing. The area, the northeastern part. Okay, so here's north. See that little N right there? North is the top. North. Here's the western, eastern. This is the area up here. Whoop. This business. Not this area. This is where this is happening. This is along the Turkey border, right here. Now, it looks close, but it's hundreds, if not thousands of miles. Here's Iraq. Here's Turkey. Here's Syria. Jordan, Lebanon. Israel's right down here on the little, it's behind my little square over there. Let me bring this down so you guys can see. Okay, so this is the area where this stuff is happening. So, and he's saying we're keeping it because it has oil in it, but we don't.
So
oh, by the way, wait till you hear, well, I'll show you.
We're stealing someone else's natural resources, which...
No, we're not.
Which is what a war is about.
No, it isn't. Well, I guess Russia is trying to steal Ukraine's natural resources. Maybe you're onto something.
And somehow we're the victim. Somehow we're the victim. So let's go back to the story. Alleged Israeli airstrikes target sites near Masyaf in Syria. So
Masyaf. And that is, let's see if I can find the hold on. Let me see here, if I may. Shrink, dink. There we go. So serious. So that would be in here. Mesa. There it is. Okay. So remember all this is happening in northeastern Syria, right? This is where the bombing happened around the small camp near the Turkish border. This is where Masyaf is, right there. This is where the Israelis hit something.
So Israel's been bombing the shit out of Syria also, along with...
They've just been bombing the shit out of Syria. So it's the same. So Israel and America bad. Okay, gotcha. So alleged, and this is fun, alleged Israeli strikes. Airstrikes. Target. There you go. This is the Jerusalem Post. This is the actual site. Initial reports indicated that at least one of the targets was the Syrian Scientific Studies and Research Center in Masyaf. Syrian air defense systems were activated above Masyaf in northwestern Syria amid an alleged Israeli airstrike. State news agency Sana alleged on Thursday. The alleged allegedly. The alleged airstrike that they alleged. Maybe later. The agency stated that Syrian forces were confronting hostile targets above the skies of Masyaf. 2 civilians were reportedly injured in the strikes, and material damage was caused. The strikes sparked a number of fires. Initial reports indicated at least one of the targets was the Syrian Scientific Studies and Research Center in the city. The site has been targeted by alleged Israeli airstrikes multiple times in the past. According to the Syrian reports, secondary explosions continued for hours. After the strikes, along the blaze caused by the strikes, local residents were reportedly instructed to shelter in place until the fires were brought under control. That's this right here. That's the fire, I guess, on the site. I'll just have to take their word for it that there was a building there, and that's not just a hillside fire, but okay. We'll allege that is alleged. The Syrian-based militias responded on Wednesday and Thursday, targeting U.S. Army bases across Syria. One American soldier was lightly injured. Lightly. In the violent exchange, the U.S. Central Command said Wednesday. In response, American forces killed 4 militia fighters and 7 rocket launchers in strikes in Syria's Deir al-Zor region. Alleged Israeli strikes in Syria, Israel. So because Israel struck that part of the country, they struck our guys on the other side of the country. Okay, so there we go.
The United States. Looks like a serious escalation in Syria. U.S. airstrikes on Tuesday night provoked rocket attacks on U.S. bases.
Those were Israeli airstrikes.
Wednesday, U.S. airstrikes on Tuesday night provoked rocket attacks on U.S. bases on Wednesday that wounded several U.S. troops. The United States responded by launching strikes from Apache helicopters that reportedly killed several people. So that's the United States ramping up war.
Yeah,
and
that's
what
it is. We ramped it up. All right.
War.com. So where are the sanctions for the United States for doing this? And when did the U.S. oligarchs have their property confiscated? Then when is the discussion on visa bans for U.S. Entering the United? When is that happening? So they're pointing out all the shit.
Yeah, we have not attempted to seize control of Syria. We didn't.
We did to Russia for when they invaded Ukraine. Why doesn't anybody do that to the United States? We invaded Syria. We're occupying Syria.
No, we're not. We're in semi-autonomous regions that even the Syrian government doesn't control.
So that's a good point.
Nor did they.
U.S. claims to be
Aaron Mate's back.
In Syria to fight ISIS. That's what they claim.
But it rarely fights ISIS. Yes, I know. We train and provide logistical support for the democratic fighters, the Syrian rebels who fight ISIS.
No, Trump told you the truth. The truth is they're there for the oil. But they claim they're there to fight terrorism. But it rarely fights terrorism or ISIS. It's actually there to deny Syria its own oil and wheat, and to occasionally attack Syrians.
Fields of wheat.
And their allies who defeated U.S.-backed sectarian death squads in a dirty war.
And their allies who defeated U.S.-backed sectarian death squads in the dirty war. Breaking reports of U.S. troops sustained minor energies and rocket attacks in Syria. The U.S. military responding with Apache helicopter strikes. The dirty war. Okay. I mean, we all know Aaron Mate's. That's his line always.
They say we're fighting ISIS. You know, we funded ISIS, right? Just so you know.
Sure.
Just so you know, we funded.
Yeah, we totally funded him. Sure. Yeah, Obama created him.
Trolls have a hard time processing words when they come from me. This is Aaron Mate talking. He says, so here's a senior Biden official, Dana Stroul. She's explaining, this is from 2019, what the U.S. policy in Syria remains.
Oh, I'm sure it's the entire cut.
Here's what she says.
The United States still had compelling forms of leverage on the table to shape an outcome that was more conducive and protective of U.S. interests. And we identified 4. So the first one was the 1/3 of Syrian territory that was owned via the U.S. military with its local partner, the Syrian Democratic Forces. Now,
owned with their Democratic partners, owned by currently control.
1/3 of Syrian land that was owned by U.S. military.
Meaning controlled.
It was a light footprint on the U.S. military, only about 1,000 troops over the course of the Syria Study Group's report, and then the tens of thousands of forces, both Kurdish and Arab, under the Syrian Democratic Forces. And that 1/3 of Syria...
You're not going to stop, Jimmy, when she says Kurdish and Arab forces? You're not going to go, You're not going to go Syrian You're not going to go in Kurdish,
Nope. Is the resource-rich, it's the economic powerhouse of Syria.
So that's the 1/3 we're occupying. I was wondering, which 1/3 of Syria are we occupying? The resource-rich area of Syria.
Yeah, that's why the Syrian government under Bashar al-Assad wants to wipe out the Kurds in that area. They see that as their land, and the ISIS folks are trying to expand the caliphate into that area. Everybody's fighting for the resources. The resources aren't why we're there. Stability of them would be a good idea. But also that they're not funding particular bad guys is also an issue. Now, again, most of this shit started, I think, We're talking, what, 2000 when the Syrian one, timeline one was about, like Arab Spring. So we're talking about 2014. Oops, hold on. And then he plays this clip again.
So there we go. Just remember,
we're keeping.
this is why they don't like Trump. Why does the establishment and why did the FBI and the CIA try so hard to take down Trump?
That's what happened. Guys, it's all about the deep state.
Because he acts, not because he governed any differently than the Democrats or the...
Yeah, he kind of does. The number of civilian deaths during Trump's first year in office were greater than the entirety of Obama's time in office from airstrikes. Because he told them, I don't give a fuck. I don't like those people anyways. Do what you got to do.
Rather Republicans.
But it doesn't matter to Jimmy because he lives in the Hollywood Hills.
But because he accidentally would say stuff like this.
We're keeping the oil. We have the oil. The oil is secure. We left troops behind only for the oil.
Hold on 1 second. First of all, oops. Let's try to find the U.S. Syria for that's the Guardian News. That's a minute-long clip. Let me find. Yeah, here we go. This is from 2019. This is that same moment where he's. By the way, for all the maggots out there, Trump is doing the weird Illuminati hand gesture. Apparently, when Obama does it, it's a sign that he's part of the Pentaveret. When Trump does it, yeah, it's just a thing he does to relax his hands. And by the way, okay, here we go. We're keeping the oil. We had the oil. The oil is secure. We left troops behind only for the oil. During a meeting with the Turkish president, there's Erdogan right there. Well, last Thursday, the vice director of the Pentagon's Joint Chief corrected a reporter who said the mission was there. Who said the mission there was to protect the oil. I'm not going to pick on your words, but I would say I would be cautious saying that the mission is to secure the oil fields. Rear Admiral William Burns said the mission is the defeat of ISIS. Securing of the oil fields is subordinate to the task of the mission, and the purpose of that task is to deny ISIS the revenues from that oil infrastructure. Trump this fall ordered the withdrawal of almost all of the 1,000 U.S. troops in Syria after learning the Erdogan planned to send troops into the country's northeast to clear the area of YPG Kurds, which Turkey considers terrorists. Trump later switched course and decided to send in U.S. troops to protect oil fields in eastern Syria. Joint Chiefs, fucking hell, Mark Milley, speaking on ABC's This Week, said the new mission means about maybe 600 troops will remain in Syria. There's 900, by the way. There are still ISIS fighters in the region, and unless pressure is maintained, unless attention is maintained on that group, there's a real possibility that conditions would be best for a reemergence of ISIS. So we're committed to do that. The footprint will be small, but the objective will remain the same, the enduring defeat of ISIS. Pentagon spokesperson Jonathan Hoffman, during the same press conference last week, said the revenue will stay with the Kurds. The revenue from this is not going to the U.S. This is going to the Syrian Democratic forces. By the way, does anybody know if Jimmy drives an electric car? I don't think so.
And they can't have him say that. You understand why that's a bad look for imperialism?
It's a bad look for an American president. It's why we voted him out, fucko.
So congratulations, Joe Biden, bigger warmonger than Donald Trump.
How so?
Congrats, you guys. You did
Based on what? What is that statement about?
it. You pulled it off. By the way, Joe Biden finishing his border wall. You did it. More kids in cages than under him. You did it.
Again, the fuck is he talking about? Oh, I think he's going back to Obama before that when they did the separation policy. And by the way, no lost kids. Title 42 ended under Biden. Pretending it's all the same or it's all a wash is just fucking gross. It means you don't care. I mean, there are people in this world that will just kind of blatantly lie about stuff for their own political desires. Jimmy does it for some sort of weird, it used to be for some sort of weird anarchical pushback against authoritarianism or imperialism in the abstract, as if he ever fucking knew. But at some point, it just became in defense of Donald Trump, that he was being picked on.
Bigger military budget under Biden than it. You did it. We did
That's because the second year was expanded under the budget that Trump put forward.
it.
It's a 10-year plan.
We got rid of them.
All right, again, yuck, totally gross, totally idiotic. Can I show you guys something real quick before we head out? This is Jimmy's favorite war is, where is this? Yeah, let's go to here. From Jimmy keeps bringing up Yemen all the fucking time, as if it's an example of America is holding Yemen hostage. It's a constant thing. There's a whole timeline at Arab Center DC where they break down what caused the civil war, how long it went, what were the turning points when Abdul Saleh, I think his name was, where is it? His whole name's in here somewhere. Yeah, Ali Abdullah Saleh was he was like the president of Yemen for 30 years. The Houthis took over the north. The south was run in this kind of, they were attempting anyways through, a sort of post-USSR alignment, a socialist kind of government. It was the northern Houthis, the guys given the Nazi salutes, who eventually overran that government. Arguably, if Jimmy believes in, at least in what he believes Bernie Sanders was for and all those kind of things in the beginning, that was the government that was wiped out by the current people who control, by the way, as proxy for Iran, the Houthis. And there's a split sect in the Houthis. They're not all the same, but the secondary sect has just effectively all been wiped out or removed from power. But one of the things in here is like the really standard for this goes back to the 90s. But this is the Arab Spring. Here it is. In 2009 to 2010, in August 2009, the Yemeni military launched in not to be outdone by anybody, by the U.S. government and Enduring Freedom and Fighting Eagle and all that shit. They just decided to create a 2009-2010. They called it Operation Scorched Earth to crush the Houthi rebellion in Sada. At this point, Houthi rebels began fighting with the Saudi forces in cross-border clashes. Fighting continues until, after rounds of offers and counteroffers, Saleh's government agrees to ceasefire with Abdul Malik al-Houthi and the rebels in February of 2010. The Yemeni military simultaneously carries out Operation Blow to the Head, a crackdown on both the rebels and Al-Qaeda, ACAP, Al-Qaeda in the Arabian Peninsula. This is while we were recovering, while Obama was taking office and we were recovering from 2008 into 2009, this was what was happening in Yemen. Saleh's government, he'd been heading the place for, he was president for like 33 years. Yeah, 30. Yeah, there it is. 30, at that point, 32, 31. Decided that the Houthis, who were aligned with Iran and fighting against Saudi Arabia, and who did not agree in the existence and of the Yemeni government at all, it wasn't about move on and we'll take over and we should have a democratic election. They didn't believe in that at all. They wanted an ISIS-style state. They started fighting. They want to seize back Mecca and Medina effectively from the Saudis. That's a big part of this shit. So the Yemeni military launched Operation Scorched Earth and Operation Blow to the Head in 2009, 2010. And we're the terrorists. For fuck's sake. Selects General People's Congress, agrees to a Gulf Cooperation Council brokered deal to hand over power, but the president refuses to sign on. This prompts the influential Hashid Tribal Federation and several army commanders to back the opposition, after which clashes erupt in Sana'a. This is in 2011. He does this like, I'm going to step down after the Arabs, during and after the Arab Spring. Operation Decisive Storm. They don't fuck around with these names. After repeated pleas from Hadi, a Saudi-led coalition of Arab states, including the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, Bahrain, Sudan, and Kuwait, initiates Operation Decisive Storm in support of the ousted president. This is for Saleh. The coalition launches airstrikes against Houthi targets, deploys small ground forces, and imposes a naval blockade. The United States announces its intention to aid the coalition's efforts. This is not just, we're backing the Saudis, we don't give a shit what they do. This was everybody. Egypt, Morocco, Jordan, Bahrain, Sudan, Kuwait, the UAE, and Saudi Arabia. The coalition declares an end to Operation Decisive Storm. Saudi Arabia announces it would move on to a phase described as Operation Restoring Hope. Because they're trying to keep us involved. That's what this was about. It's this whole thing is fucked. Then, of course, it all falls apart. Like, this asshole doesn't know shit about any of this stuff, nor does he care. All right, so that's the darkest we've had to go, thanks to Untucked.com's least popular model. Now, let's jump into something fun. Wait, let's do this first, if I will. And by the way, he is now wearing muted colors. Don Jr. is now wearing muted colors. He's not real good at picking his thumbnails these days. But he's getting the views, so you can't argue with him. Here's Don Jr. And he's going to be talking about, this is fast. This is called The Truth About the Witch Hunt Against Donald Trump. Guys, my hair, guys, it's like unbelievable. I like it so much. I had to start wearing I'm in a trailer in the middle of nowhere while I'm shooting I'm just starring in a new Daily Wire action film. You hear me? It's so good.
It's time to fix what's wrong with the right leadership. It's time for April Becker, a mom and attorney. April is ready to fight for us. She'll work to strengthen our economy and put parents back in charge. Vote April Becker for Congress.
Clearly.
Well, guys, the release of the affidavit is out.
Well, guys, I'm selling it. Come on. Here we go.
And we finally know.
We're gonna do. What was I talking about?
Literally nothing. Okay? It is so heavily redacted.
Well, we do know one thing. Hold on. Should we bring up read the full redacted copy of the thing when you watch it on the Can you click it on here? Here, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, how you doing? It's so redacted. I can't. There's nothing. No. How do you even know what the thing is? How would you even? There's so much. I don't. Are there any words in this? By the way, they should have redacted his statement by them. Whatever. There's your. Let's see. According to CBS, a lot of these things are about where he was and when he was there and how they know it. This is the redacted part. On or about May 6, 2021, NARA made a request for the missing PRA records and continued to make requests until Presidential Records Act, by the way. Records where Trump tweeted, Presidential Records Act! Until approximately late December 2021 when NARA was informed 12 boxes were found and ready for retrieval at the premises. We now know that there were 15, that was a lie, that they found 3 more boxes that when they got there that they had to take with them. Here's some more stuff. Oh, look, the 15 boxes. Guys, now we know that apparently telling them we only had 12 boxes when we had 27 was, guys, the fruits of crime.
Okay? That you couldn't.
I love how, like, they select only the redacted parts. I would too if the parts with actual writing made you look like shit.
Find anything in there. Right? Remember when they got up there right after this happened? We want the utmost in transparency. We want to make sure the American public knows everything there is to know.
No, they didn't say anything like that.
And then they hand you this.
They didn't hand me this. Your dad asked for its release, and the judge agreed with it. And since it deals with secret informants and secret fruits of crime, since it involves national secrets, we're obviously not going to know a bunch of this stuff. Not that your dad gives a rat fuck.
This is what they give you. Because they say they want transparency on TV. They get full credit from the media and all of their lackeys, all of their lapdog, incompetent morons.
They're lapdog, incompetent morons who are apparently winning the messaging war because Biden's numbers went up 7 points with independents in the last month. Fruits of crime do not pay.
In the media, oh look, they want transparency. Isn't that nice? Well, guess what, guys? Yeah, we'd love transparency in America, but we're never going to get it anymore.
Yeah, you're never going to know. Who was it? Who told on my dad? Who is it? Is it you? Is it you? Is it someone in here? Where is it? It's not. I've heard that, too much coke makes you paranoid. But who is it? Why did they have to redact the part that tells me who it was? I can't. My dad doesn't know where to go. Who is? You have to understand, that's what they're bitching about. We all know that there are details in this as far as the content that nobody wants out. That's the whole fucking point of getting the stuff back. But the reason they're like, why is it so redacted? Who was it? Who did it? Who was it?
Anymore. Not with these clowns. Look at what they did. You think you get anything from this?
Yeah, I get a lot from this, actually. I got a lot of crazy. A couple of things in particular. Conducted a preliminary review of the 15 boxes, and they discovered 184 unique documents bearing classification markings, 67 documents marked confidential, 92 documents marked secret, and 25 documents marked top secret. Further, the FBI agents observed markings reflecting the following departments: in dissemination controls, HCS, Human Intel, and FISA, ORCON, NOFORN, and SI. Based on my training experience, I know that documents classified at this level contain NDI, National Defense Information Intelligence. Several of the documents also contain what appear to be POTUS's handwritten notes, which he's also supposed to leave behind. In the second letter, let's see a few principles. I'm aware of article published in Breitbart, yada, yada. They get back to here. Let's see, they sent a letter which says they reiterated that the premises are not authorized to store classified information, requested the preservation of the storage room and boxes that have been removed from the White House to the premises. Specifically, the letter stated in the relevant part, and they had to block this part out. As I previously indicated to you, Mar-a-Lago does not include a secure location authorized for the storage of classified information. As such, it appears that since the time classified documents and a bunch of shit you're not supposed to have were removed from the secure facilities of the White House and moved to Mar-a-Lago on or around January 20th, 2021. They have not been handled in an appropriate manner or stored in an appropriate location. Accordingly, we asked that. We also now know, of course, that there was a Russian-born Ukrainian woman who's, strangely enough, her father's a truck driver in Illinois, who changed her name from Inna Vashishin to Anna de Rothschild, an expert in the fruits of crime. And she was, all last year, she was showing up at fucking Mar-a-Lago. Let's see, what else? Oh, it's all blacked out. I don't know anything. This probable cause to believe documents contain classified NDI and presidential records remain at the premises. By the way, this is, this part, that's evidence, that's testimony. That's why it's blacked out. That's why they're mad. Based on this investigation, I believe the storage room, POTUS's presidential suite, Pine Hall. And by the way, this part right here, Pine Hall, that part, that's the part that stands out. Apparently, the fact that somebody around him knew to check Pine Hall in particular, besides just his office and other spaces generically within the premises are not currently authorized locations for the storage of classified information or NDI. Similarly, based upon this investigation, I do not believe that any spaces within the premises have been authorized for the storage of classified information, at least since the end of POTUS's presidential administration on January 20th. He was holding stuff illegally there beforehand, but until then, they couldn't do anything about it.
They release a heavily redacted, overtly political affidavit, and it only proves that the Biden administration is so desperate to cover up their own unprecedented, unnecessary, and
He's reading this part.
un-American raid against my father.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a...
It's not an un-American raid. It's a first of all, it wasn't a raid. It was a search and seizure for documents that belong to the U.S. government, the taxpayer, and our secret. But also, again, not a raid. They served a search warrant. They got the shit. They left.
Travesty of justice. And if it happened to a Democrat, you'd actually be hearing about it.
We are hearing about it. Are we not hearing about it? Did we not? You guys have heard about this, right? I'm not just pulling this.
You'd see actual outrage in the media.
Actual outrage? Fucko, your side of the media got a dude to take up arms against the FBI office in Cincinnati. What the fuck are you talking about, outrage? We're outraged because this motherfucker kept stuff in a closet at a hotel he happens to own with Russian money. Thanks, JD saying happy birthday to Teresa. Yay! By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe, support the show, give a thumbs up if you feel like it. You can support the show and make it possible for me to do the show by supporting via Venmo. Just point your phone at that and take a picture, or it will lead you through the steps to, if you have a Venmo account, that'll do it. Or you can super chat, or you can give stars on Facebook, or you can subscribe on Twitch, twitch.tv/HalSparks. Don't forget to subscribe. If you have Amazon Prime, it doesn't cost you a dime. Here you go.
Put an end to this crap.
That crap. Well, I would like to put an end to this crap. I think the proper end would be for your dad to do some time.
Okay? They didn't...
as part of the fruits of crime.
Didn't even check to see if documents in these things were privileged.
Yeah, well, why is he storing privileged documents next to national security secrets if he's not planning on using privilege as a way of denying the return of national security secrets? What are you talking about? I mean, what situation do you think? Let's imagine a scenario where a drug dealer who's selling fentanyl to school children hides the fentanyl under the mattress of his baby's crib, covers it in plastic so the kid's not going to sweat and get fentanyl poisoning, but that's where he hides it. And the argument is, they didn't have a warrant to move my baby out of the way. They made my wife pick up the kid and move him out of the way, and then they searched the crib. These people searched my baby's crib. They found all of it. They found all the fucking fentanyl, but how dare they?
They wouldn't even allow his lawyers to be present during the raid.
That's always true. And by the way, they couldn't have been because it wasn't a raid.
Because they want transparency, right? Because, the FBI guys, in the last few years, we've witnessed them function so above...
This motherfucker says door kickers again.
Board. How dare you question them, then? Right? I mean...
How dare you question them, then?
Because they want transparency, right? Because, the FBI guys, in the last few years, we've witnessed them function so above board. How dare you question them, then?
Yeah, how dare you question them, then? Also... You mean they got all sketchy while your dad was fucking president? They are run by your dad's appointee right now, fucko.
Right? I mean...
Right?
They clearly...
Yeah, them. Right? Them. Dude.
Clearly, they didn't want his lawyers there. I wonder why.
Because in all those circumstances, there are legal standards for the chain of evidence. And if you had, especially in a RICO situation, if you were concerned... that a criminal had his lawyers in on it, they could remove or plant evidence to make the appearance that someone else was planting evidence. Everyone has to stand back. You can challenge it in court. If you do have a way of bringing the FBI officers in court, in groups and saying, hey, did you see this blue bag of meth sitting on the desk? And 3 out of 5 of them say no. You're impeaching 2 of them. That's how it works.
because they've acted so honorably, right? Like what they
Yes, they did.
did in Michigan with the Trumpin, like how multiple of them lied before Congress.
How multiple of them lied before Congress. Citation needed.
Now those
I don't know what the fuck he's talking about.
guys are CNN commentators talking about how dare we question the FBI. I mean, they lie before Congress. They get a job as a commentator at CNN, and we shouldn't be able to question them. Just look at them.
Well, nobody's, honestly, we live in a country where you can question any aspect of the government. That's not the problem. You're not questioning them. You're asserting, without evidence, criminality on their part. There wasn't a point where he goes, I wonder if they're planting stuff. They were like, stuff is being planted. If they find something, it's being planted. Questioning is fine. That's, as a matter of fact, you get to do it in court, fucko. That's why you hire fucking lawyers. They do the questioning for you, meathead.
There's literally almost nothing.
Oh, Tony Ornato resigned? That's interesting. That's fucking interesting, man. Hold on. Ooh. Okay, that's let's see. This is, yeah. This was a few weeks ago, yeah. Yeah, this is the guy who apparently who told Cassidy Hutchinson the story. Anthony Ornato left his role as Secret Service agent in charge of President Trump's protective detail in late 2019 when the culture of internal strife that Trump fostered through his term left the president's top advisor frantically searching for a candidate to fill a key role, Deputy White House Chief of Staff for Operations. The title does not fully capture the significance of the job. Okay, Ornato did not want the job, according to 3 former White House officials, but by that point he was happily working at Secret Service headquarters. Like many agents, he had served previous administrations, blah, blah, blah. But when Trump called him to tell him he was putting him in the job, he believed he had no choice but to take it. According to those officials, for the remainder of his presidency, Ornato was the heart of the West Wing, occupying an office steps down the hall from the Oval Office, adjacent to the office of Jared Kushner, who did not have a job. Worked for free, just like Paul Manafort. Mr. Ornato is at the center of a dispute over events during the, okay, yeah. There was an account week it's gonna Cassie Hutchinson, your public term. She said she learned from him that he testified. Is he testifying? He said, told her the president lunged at his Secret Service agent. Officials did not dispute. Mr. Trump angrily demanded to be taken to the Capitol on the day of the riot. He told the New York Times the president was in a fury while he was at the rally. One Secret Service official asking his name not be used to describe the potential testimony acknowledged a conversation that took place with Ms. Hutchinson, but said it played out differently than she described. Officials say with the Jan 6 committee sought to bolster Ms. Hutchinson's credibility. Alyssa Farrah Griffin accused him on Twitter of lying about an encounter they had during a 2020 protest at Lafayette Square outside there. Adam Kinzer, Tony Ornato likes to lie. Keith Kellogg, blah, blah, blah. Okay.
In there. You know, this certain...
Yep, I got guys, I got I'm in a trailer.
Really clears it up.
This is one of those trailers when you're filming something. I'm curious what he's doing. Is this his EP trailer for at TMTG's first movie?
To the American people, I'm sure CNN is running with right now. Really clears things up.
Look where he's reading from too. Like he's doing this straight. I don't know that usually it's got a very phone-like sound. I'm guessing he's doing this into a laptop and he's scrolling right now. If you can see where he's scrolling through the notes he was given on how to talk about this.
Again, they didn't even know if they had defense information in the documents that they raided, meaning...
You what now? Yeah, yes, they did.
Privilege. Like a basic concept of the American justice system.
What? No. Defense information and privilege, executive privilege, or attorney-client privilege are not the same fucking thing, you goon. What?
Thing in there. You know, this certainly clears it up to the American people. I'm sure CNN is running with right now. Really clears things up. Again, they didn't even know if they had defense information in...
I guess he means in legal defense? His father's defense of himself? In what? The Georgia case? New York?
In the documents that they raided, meaning privilege. like a basic concept of the American justice system.
Attorney-client privilege, not just privilege. Jesus Christ.
But of course they wouldn't care about someone's rights when they're so committed to their travesty of justice. Like,
yeah, I mean, they're really committed to it. They've taken an oath to their travesty of justice.
Banana Republic stuff, right?
No, it isn't. It's more, well, I mean, Banana Republic has really nice suits. I would not be surprised if there were occasionally the FBI, if you were called in, you know, you're off duty or you're on vacation and they call you in, you got to wear a suit, you got to get one right away. Banana Republic suits off the rack can be pretty good. I'm just saying. Yes, he's in a trailer right now, and it's not his. It's a honey wagon. He's in a honey wagon right now.
They're so all in my opinion, they almost have to come up with something right now.
Yeah. So this is the defense now. They're going to craft criminality because they went so far down this road, they have to find something incriminating. Not that they're going to, because he's seen it and his dad knows that they're in deep shit right now.
To say
a honey wagon is a contracted like vehicle trailer dressing room that you get when you do a movie or a television show when you're filming something. You either get your own, where you get like a big camper or something like that, or an on-site dressing room if you're in a regular studio. Sitcoms usually have those. Like on Queer as Folk, we had a honey wagon that had 4 trailer blocks on it. So there would be 4 cast members in each truck. And you each have your own room. That's called a honey wagon. There you go.
Have any credibility with the American people. It'll be nonsense, but they'll probably do it.
Yeah, it'll be nonsense. It won't be real. When they find stuff that's criminal that they can actually declassify and show them the content of it or name it, it'll be nonsense. Just trust me. A honey wagon is a septic pump truck. That's the joke about a honey wagon. So everybody's got a toilet is the joke. That's where it comes from.
Because they commit travesty after travesty after travesty. They're telling you, they finally got him. This is
any vehicle I'm in is a honey wagon. You get out of here with this thing of that.
Russia version 746, right?
No. Again, all of this stuff has been rife with truth. This, what they're attempting now is the gish gallop of stuff that he was able to dodge, as if because he was able to skate through because Republicans wouldn't vote for his ouster after he was impeached, that somehow all of it was fake. It was all a big hoax. It was all a coordinated attack on him.
They almost have to. And again, based on the way they functioned over the last few years, of course.
You mean while your dad was president? You mean the Department of Justice while your dad was president was completely corrupt? And
would anyone have any faith in these institutions?
Yes, tremendous faith. Absolutely.
Anyone think that they'd be above coming up with nonsense or planting it?
There you go. See, he's not even asking. Well, he's kind of asking questions. Does anybody think they'd be above coming up with nonsense or planting things? Does anybody think that, does anybody really believe they wouldn't plant stuff just to bust him for a totally separate crime that was an unforced error? This is exactly like the Zelensky call. The Zelensky call happened after he felt like he had beat the Mueller report. They couldn't indict him. Barr put up his little summary 4-page letter. He was able to dodge it. He knew he was going to get impeached. He got impeached, but he didn't get removed, and it was done. Now I'm untouchable. Fuck you. I beat that. You guys can't even come for me. And if you did, it'll just look like sour grapes over that thing. So he made the call leading up to the election saying, you better do this for me or you're not going to get any of the weapons that we've allocated to you. And if you do, you'll get them too late. By the way, we now know that Russia was planning this attack, and the delay of those weapons by weeks, if not months, by Trump officially slowed their ability to respond and put Ukraine on its heels.
Couldn't be. You'd have to be foolish to think that these agencies now act even remotely honorably, especially when it's coming from up as high as it is.
So you would have to be a fool to think that the FBI or the judges in Florida or the president of the United States or the entirety of the DOJ is acting even the slightest bit honorably because They put up with his dipshit dad holding classified documents at his rentable club in fucking Florida for a year and a half. Warning after warning. They eventually gave him a subpoena. He blew it off. Put people who were not authorized to see classified intel in charge of sifting through the shit instead of just returning it, letting the people with clearance sift through it and give the stuff back.
They tell you with a straight face they want transparency, knowing the media will run with it, and then
By the way, he's reiterating these notes. If you'll notice, he goes, CNN's probably running with that right now. These little phrases, he's reading it directly from the paper. So this was the whole note. He kind of references back to it a couple of times to kind of stretch the video out.
they do exactly the opposite.
No, they didn't do exactly the opposite would be, fuck you, I'm not giving you anything. What they actually did was release a redacted form of it without giving away their sources, which is why they're so angry, or the actual material that was classified that shouldn't be known anyways.
It's
Cheers.
McCarthyism.
Thanks, Dolly.
That's all it is, folks.
It's McCarthyism. Yes, it's the Orange Scare.
And it's happening in America right now.
We can't let it happen right now.
And now remember, what would they say if someone did this to Obama?
They'd go, wait a minute, Obama gave all of his documents to the National Archives to review and then give to him. What's the grounds? That's what we would say. I think we would all go, what are the grounds for them doing this because he went through the proper channels? I mean, openly. Here's what would happen. Really? They did this? Yeah. And apparently Obama is going to be suing Donald Trump for his entire fortune because he's got a piece of paper from the National Archives that says, thank you for giving us all your shit. And we'll get it to you when whatever's declassified or is proper to be released or to be used in your library, we'll send it ahead. Thanks very much for being so cooperative. The fuck are you talking about? I would settle. Here's the thing. I thought it was outrageous that Hillary had to sit for 11 hours for fucking Benghazi testimony. I would settle for it. Let's just make it even. How about that? Let's clear all this shit up and let's have your dipshit dad sit down. Not even 11. Give me 5.5 hours. Let's cut it right in half. 5.5 hours. And no pleading the fifth. Let's hear it. Come on. Any day now. Also, you could, you have the complete ability to release the footage, the 60-day footage that you gave the Justice Department, you gave to the FBI and the National Archives. Release that footage right away. Put it online. Put it on Truth Social. Matter of fact, you've got a partnership, a hosting partnership with Rumble. Post it all on Rumble in hour-long segments. Jack that shit up. Hour by hour, day by day, 24 hours of 60 days in a row. Chapter them. I mean, how fucking hard would that be? You have it. Also, yeah, good point. Obama did get 2 terms.
There'd be outrage, but because it's Trump and they hate.
But because Trump, nobody gives a fuck. Apparently, just because it's Trump, nobody gives a shit except Lindsey Graham, me, and people at Newsmax who don't give a shit if FBI agents get shot sitting in their car. Fucking hell.
Hate his supporters.
Can't let it happen.
They couldn't care less.
They hate his supporters. They couldn't care less. No, here's the thing. I happen to love my country. Well more than I would even presume to hate Trump's followers. 5-8.
We're coming to Tulsa.
Okay, this is jackass. Okay. Now, By the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. I go through these clips as they post them. I will say, I will give Don Jr. credit on one thing. He does not have the mental capacity to make a video over 5 minutes long. And so they are mercifully short. That's the best thing I can say about any of that shit. Now, I don't know. I mean, there's so much more to cover. How long is this one? Let me see. I'm going to make sure I know. Got to check this in. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check how long a piece of video is. And so that I know what order I want to do these in, because sometimes you can't. Okay, so that's 5 minutes and 47 seconds, and then this one's 8. Okay. Yeah, let's go to this one. So, Real America's Voice has some one-of-a-kind video, man. Super exciting. And they're nice enough to use my, the first letter of my first name. Isn't that nice? God damn it, I like that. Say that again. Thank you, Mask Man. Thank you, Mask Man. I don't like that. You know what? I'm going to put that in the book. I'm going to get a Thank You, Mask Man book. I'm going to put it, Thank you, Mask Man. Put that in the book. Like, Thank you, Mask Man. John Jefferson, Freeport, Long Island. Put it in the book. Help, we're being robbed. Not right now. Getting a Thank You, Mask Man. Take a couple minutes off. Get a couple of Thank You, Mask Mans. I'm going to put it in the book. Screw these people. All right. You guys don't even know what I'm talking about. Lenny Bruce, Thank You, Mask Man. Cartoon version of it. Genius. Oh my God. All right. There we go. All right. Now, here we go. This is Jack Posobiec. This is Rep MTG Part 1. She got swatted. So before, is this related to that? Watch video one on you. They dive deep into the recent swattings. Swattings. I think you have to use 2 T's or it's not swatting. I think it's swatting. When you swat, I think you got to put a dash in there or something. The recent swattings she experienced. Was she swatted more than once? I thought it was SWAT singular. We'll find out. But before this even starts, for the record, I am anti-swatting in all forms. It happened to Tim Pool, it was wrong. It happened to individuals, it was wrong. It's fucked up when it happens to gamers and other places, and it does not belong in interpersonal legal interactions with the government or the federal authorities or the state authorities, and none of it. None. Full stop. Wrong. Never. Bad. Always bad. I'm going on record. Not only because you can accidentally get the person that gets swatted killed, you can also get the officers killed. You can also have revenge killings about this shit. And all kinds of awful. There's the cascade of death that can come from something like this is off the charts. It's fucked up. It's wrong. Don't do it. Ever. Not ever. We're clear? So any jokes or anything I say must be heard under the umbrella of swatting always bad. I don't know the details of this, but fuck that. Half these MTG supporting assholes would be excited that she got swatted and killed a cop in the process. They'd cheerlead her for getting one of the UN jackbooted thugs. They take it as a go-ahead. It's fucked up. No, hell no. End of story. Okay.
Jack Posobiec here for a Sunday special.
It's going well so far, Jack. It's terrific.
Human Events.
Of Human Events. Sunday special of Human Events. Oh, that's the show. Host of Human Events Daily. So no pets. All right. I can live with that.
We're sitting down with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, we had a pre-recorded interview from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. We were going to just play that and go, fuck it. Does she ever say anything new? Hold on. Somebody's Turbo says, "Yo, Hal, I know you didn't set out to expose TYT, but geez, did you open my eyes to their nonsense? Keep up the great work and keeping us sane." I'm doing my best. Just vote. Register and vote. And remember, if you are ever confronted with a choice that you believe is the lesser of two evils, choose less evil. Okay, here we go.
But we canned it. We completely got rid of that interview.
Yeah, it sucked. It was terrible. She was, but she was like, y'all, and I don't know, and that kind of shit. It was tiring.
Why is that? Because something happened to Marjorie Taylor Greene this
Dear God.
week, this congresswoman. She was targeted not once, but twice in the sanctity of her own home.
Well, okay, two things. One is, indeed, it was apparently two swatings. Are swats, it's a swat plural, like deer? Or is it a swat, or you were swoot? We'll see. But she was swatted twice, which is bad. Don't ever do it. Always wrong. The idea, she was swastika'd. She was swastika'd. No. My question is, I just call into question the sanctity and home stuff.
Swatted.
Yummy.
And we're told, reportedly, that this was done by trans activists.
She was swatted by trans activists. So were the activists trans, or they were swatting her on behalf of trans people? I don't give a fuck.
They sent police to her home.
They didn't send the SWAT team? So she was just policed?
In the middle of the night.
Oh, in the middle of the night.
2 nights in a row. They told the officers.
So the second time they came anyways? They didn't go, oh yeah, but hey man, we got this call. Active psychopath. There's a woman doing clean and jerks on the roof of a place with an AR-15. She's shooting at Priuses with a high-powered rifle while filming a campaign ad on the roof of her house. We got the same call last night. I don't care. I'm going anyways.
That there was an active shooter involved.
Well, she does work out.
At inside her home.
At insideherhome.org.gov.
They wanted her killed. They wanted her dead.
Both? In that order? I guess that's how it happens. What did they? All right. Which one did they ask for the first night?
They wanted her taken out.
Oh, so I would do that first. I mean, if you're gonna kill me dead, at least take me out. Take me to a nice dinner. Give me, buy me something, a little gift.
Everyone knows who the congresswoman is. I think she needs no further introduction.
No. All I need to know is she was the one who was swatted because someone found it completely plausible she was an active shooter. Okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, opinion and not a trending topics and fingerprints daily. Yeah. Oh, subway platform bench thing. Human Defense Daily with Jack Back, powered by TPUSA. Toilet paper for America. All the bits out. I love tough music on shows. It's just so fucking irritating. Like, if anybody's seen my theme music bit on Alcatraz, you'll understand why it's a particular bone to pick. It's like a baseball player coming out to, Metallica. Bong bong bong. Swatting boom baka.
What's going on there? He didn't. Okay, so the caller stated that she reported that their boyfriend had come to the home and that they shot him 5 times, and he's currently in the bathtub. Caller.
Oh, just washing off the wounds, or
refused to provide names, but insisted on providing the address, ensuring that the responder had it correctly. Caller stated that they were going to load.
Sorry, this is kind of a low res. They didn't go in through the windows or whatever. How many of you were expecting the final scene from Christmas Vacation?
The gun and take their own life and then stop responding. The line is still open with our mental health responder.
Okay, I was calling. What company are you with again?
The Veterans and Military Crisis Line.
And you said somebody possibly shot somebody?
That's what the chatter is telling me. I work for Suicide Lifeline.
Oh my God, they just stormed right in. It's like the raid on Mar-a-Lago.
Said he shot his family members and he's going to shoot himself as well. It may possibly be a slaughter.
Yeah, you can tell they're really concerned. They're letting her, a known gun owner, by the way, just walk down her hallway, get her stuff.
Not 100% sure.
Hey, y'all want anything? I'm gonna be out in the car while all this is going on. Does she have a phone booth in her living room, or is that the top of her clock? The fuck? Does she have a corner shelf? Also, can you, from a security standpoint, can you pick a worse spot in that room for the entry camera? Why the fuck wouldn't you at least put it on top of whatever that is, right there on the corner? Can you imagine if anything actually went down in this situation? You can only see fucking waist high on this dude. If they take 2 steps towards this, everybody disappears. What the fuck kind of security is this? I'm gonna light somebody up if they come in here. I don't give a fuck. Yeah, if they start going happy birthday and like just start. Actually, miss, we're not really cops. This is a birthday gift from the thunder from down under. All right.
But he's saying that he
start playing the theme song to the Human Events Daily.
Wants help for his family.
Sorry. All right, simmer down. This is serious. This is serious.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard to a very special edition.
Please cut to her, like behind shielding.
Of Human Events Daily. We're excited to welcome back on the program Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I wish it was under better circumstances.
Yes, but here she is in her barn bunker.
But unfortunately, the reason that we are interviewing her today and the reason that we kind of scrapped our normal agenda and said we need to focus on this specifically is that, Congresswoman, you were just the victim of 2 swatting attempts that came.
First, Tim Pool. Now Marjorie Taylor Greene.
A little.
I would make an excellent Chippendale, I think. Especially for my age. If there was like a 50+ Chippendales, I'm just saying.
A little bit dangerous. And that had the opportunity in a few of these instances to become.
By the way, again, stating unequivocally, all joking aside, swatting is fucked up. Don't ever participate in it. It's always wrong. End of story. Anybody who participates in it is an asshole. Even if they do it to themselves. Not saying that's what happened in this situation. Just saying it would be wrong if it was.
Extremely kinetic and become very, very out of control. And so, Congresswoman, first of all, are you okay? Is everything all right?
Yes, I'm okay. Thank you so much, Jack. And my family's okay. So that's the good.
Everyone's okay.
Yes, everybody's okay.
I'm okay. You're okay. Chip or Dale? Which one has the better teeth? I don't know.
Okay, but the reality is it was basically an attempted assassination by police in the form of swatting and on a member of Congress. Like, we need to.
Well, these extremists were using the police as a murder weapon almost, or attempted to use the police as a murder weapon.
Right. That's what swatting is. That's why it's always wrong. Also, maybe, just maybe, recognize that you weren't the only one in danger in this situation. So were the cops. Because in any swatting situation, you have every reason to believe if you're not engaged in anything illegal or you're not, there's nothing of the like going on in your house, that those people might not even be cops. If they just come up, if they really do read this as bad and decide to go in through the windows and tear gas your house, like, believing you're under attack, as paranoid and nuts as she is.
Weapon. But before we get into that, let's go back and unpack. I know you've told the story and we chatted briefly earlier this week, but I really want to go into this. I want to hear your side of it.
Tell us the tale. Take us all back. What happened? It was nighty night and you were in your num nums, and you were clean flixing and chilling with your blow up sex guru, and you're in the middle of the night and you're stepping on the foot pump, trying to wake him up, and you hear a Nikki knock at the door, and you're like, what's that sound? Stop. Hey, what's that sound? Swatting is the thing that's going down. And then, all right.
You're home. It's the middle of the night. You get a knock on the door. Tell me what happened.
Well, as you can imagine, or anyone listening or watching this can imagine, when you're sound asleep in the night, you're not expecting anyone at the door.
Mm-hmm.
If you hear a knock at the door or a doorbell, it is very scary. It's startling.
Yes, I have a very startling doorbell.
What I was woken up to after 1 o'clock in the morning was doorbells, knocking, and seeing flashlights and hearing people outside my bedroom window.
Which, by the way, could very well be security acting on her behalf. She was not hearing gunk, 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 yunk, gunk, 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 FBI, gunk, 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 like this bullshit story they like to tell everybody.
And that concerned me. So I got up, got dressed, was going to take my gun to the door, but I did not. Thank God. And I went to the front door.
Also, you have outside cameras. So I'm going to guess she is either too stupid to check her cameras, because I sure as shit check mine if there's anything wonky going on. We have occasionally, like, the traffic that goes by behind our house sometimes will set off the back camera to make it seem like there's somebody in the backyard. It's rare, but it has, it's specific. It has to reflect the light kind of perfectly, and it has to be going by slow enough that it triggers it. But it happens on occasion. And when it does, I get a notification on my devices, and I flick open the thing, and I take a fucking look. Thanks, Doug, by the way, for the Venmo. Appreciate it. Bless you. And again, also, Dion, thanks for subscribing. Also, and Brian, thanks for that. Is he in a trailer? Oh, because we were talking about Don Jr. Yes, he was in a trailer earlier. So I look at my my phone or my iPad, whatever's nearer that has the the camera feed on it. The TV in the bedroom has an Apple TV on it that can do that can bring it up if I want. If she does, as a sitting member of Congress, if she doesn't fucking have this in her house, I don't know what the fuck she's thinking. Especially as crazy as she is about, because a lot of times her biggest problem might not even be the opposite side of the aisle, but disenfranchised lunatics on her side. They're way more dangerous. It's way more dangerous when your crowd turns on you than the other side, because there will be other people that will do just as well as you to your opposition sometimes in life. But when they used to believe in you and they wanted you to, you were you were like their touchstone or their focal point of their belief system, and then you don't live up to it, they turn worse than anybody.
Door to police outside my front door and outside my front yard, opened the door to a very serious situation. The police were responding. They informed me responding to a 911 call where someone had called in and said that a person had been shot.
And she's like, I'm sorry, you're looking for the Palin house?
5 times in the chest. We're lying in a bathroom.
Why is she blaming trans people? Anonymous, I don't know that she is. I don't know if they found out who did it and therefore it was activists. And again, whether it was actual trans people who are activists or activists doing something on behalf of trans people, or that's just her assertion, we don't know yet, and I'm not taking her word for it.
There were children in the home, and there was going to be potentially more murder or suicide happening. So when police get a call,
well, it has to be extraordinary, or they're not going to show up.
Like that, as you know, Jack.
There's a woman in this house petting her cat backwards.
They show up tactically prepared, guns drawn, ready for the circumstance of the situation they have to respond to. It is a high alert situation, also very dangerous for our great police officers. Right.
But again, this is not on the same level as somebody when it happens to somebody who is not known. If they know, and believe me, there's no fucking way they don't know this is her house. They have to go through the process, because just because you're known doesn't mean you can't be involved in some fucked up stuff.
I opened the door.
There's a link
that is what they were prepared for.
There is a link to a right-wing site established on this, apparently. You mean, Tony, on the idea that that's who did it? Okay, we'll look at it.
And I was, of course, so confused. not
Well, that's par for the course, though.
knowing what was going on and not
Also pretty normal.
expecting anyone at my home, and just ask them, you know, what's going on, what's happening, is everything okay?
No, yeah, everything's okay. We just like to show up in tactical gear.
And then they informed me of the call, and I said, no, I didn't make that call.
Yeah, they know because they were still on the fucking phone with the person.
And then that's when I got really scared, because I thought, is someone in my house? And I asked the police officers to come inside. I wanted them to check my home. And that's when both of us, you know, realized, and the sergeant in charge, he goes, yeah, I think you've been swatted. And
that's all of it. We're just gonna get watch the entire interview. That's okay. I'm jumping in here. Where's the rest of this shit? We'll skip ahead to the point where I don't know how long this thing went. It's half hour now.
Jack Posobiec.
But the reality is, it was basically an attempted assassination by police. Now that was one night that happened.
And that's night one. But
our Rome police officers here, they were amazing. They were clear-headed. They were in control. They were prepared to handle the worst situation, but they were also so quick to realize the real situation that we had going on. Now that was one night that happened.
And that's night one. But then, right. So this happens again.
Yes. And then the person called back afterwards and confessed. The reason why they swatted me was because I am against transgender surgeries for children.
Yeah, that's what they said.
I've taken a very strong stance against it.
It's that she's against transgender surgeries for children. That's why I swatted her. Just for the record. Good. Thank you. Can you put that in the record? Click. Thank you. Yes. I know I sound exactly like Marjorie Taylor Greene. People tell me that all the time.
And they are angry at me for that. They wanted to have me murdered by police. They wanted
We're trying to ban it.
Yeah, harm done to me or my family, because I introduced a bill the week before, Protect Children's Innocence Act, to make this a felony for any child, for anyone performing so-called gender-affirming care on children under 18. Yeah, no double mastectomies, no hysterectomies, no castration, no puberty blockers, no hormone therapy for any child under the age of 18. You know, it's important legislation.
That nobody gave a shit about and was never going anywhere. But because she introduced this fapping horse shit, for fuck's sake.
Should be illegal. And they're mad at me for that. They're so angry at me.
Nonsense.
I'm
calling bullshit on this. Please tell me they have the person. Who's this they person?
They want to kill me for it. So that was just night one. The next day, you know, same thing. Was looking forward to a good night's sleep because I didn't have one the night before. Went to bed, but I was awoken just after 3 a.m. the very next night. Same scenario, exact same scenario. Except the only difference is our local police officers were totally clued in onto the situation. So when I opened the door, it was.
Oh, you tweeted me a link, Holly Berry. Thank you. Hold on one second. I want to the group that allegedly did this shit. Hold on. To bring this up, give me a second. Okay, cool. Hold on a second. Oh, there it is. Swatting site Kiwi Farms has created a bizarre alliance. Kiwi Farms is a trolling website that has primarily targeted transgender or neurodiverse individuals. MAGA rep wants Kiwi Farms taken offline after police visited about a fictitious shooting. A trans Twitch streamer launched the Drop Kiwi Farms campaign after she was doxxed and swatted. Trans activists have long campaigned against Kiwi Farms. Whoops, no thanks. A trolling website that the New York Magazine once referred to as the web's biggest community of stalkers, but on Wednesday, an unlikely ally joined the fight to get the famously transphobic forum taken offline. Rep. Marjorie Taylor Greene, the far-right Georgia Republican, joined the chorus of people calling for action against Kiwi Farms after she was targeted in a swatting incident linked to the website by police. What the hell is going on? Said Clara Kafal-Sorrenti, a Twitch streamer and leader of the Drop Kiwi Farms campaign, in a tweet expressing disbelief as the campaign's newest potential recruit. I've been busy all day. What the hell is going on? Marjorie Taylor Greene's calls for Kiwi Farms to be taken down if she was swatted by a user on the site. The hateful online forum has created strange bedfellows, a bizarre alliance between controversial conservative lawmaker and transgender online activist. What is how to start? Kiwi Farms is an online forum for image sharing website. And always the fucked up part. Dedicated to the trolling and harassment of people who the users deem to be eccentric and voluntarily making fools of themselves, according to the website's self-description. And initially launched in 2009 as an image board, right, to troll Christine Wetton Chandler, also known as Chris Chan or Sunny Chu Online, Insider Charlotte K. But the forum rebranded Kiwi Farm and per Know Your Meme, making a shift in the website's focus, going after lolcows, harassment of armed trans alpaca ranchers of Cluster County, Colorado. Specific harassment campaigns have been so relentless and vicious. The Kiwi Farms have been linked to 3 deaths by suicide. Fucking hell. Following the June 2021 death by suicide of Near, a software developer who Kiwi Farms users had targeted, DreamHost gave the website owner Joshua Moon notice it would no longer offer domain registration services per Vice. The website temporarily began using a Russian server. Weird. Before moving to an American server. Cloudflare, the internet infrastructure company that provided DDoS protection against doesn't host Kiwi Farms, but Access reported it offers several services to keep the website online. Now activists, so they don't host anything because it's just a chat thing, so it doesn't take up any space. They can have their own streamer, stream server in their house. Clara Sereni, known as Kefels, said she had gone into hiding after a months-long doxing campaign against her on Kiwi Farms escalated to terrifying swatting incident. Accused her of sending violent emails to local politicians, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so yeah, so Kiwi Farms is the one, they've been going after trans people. They finally went after her. So hold on. What the fuck? Hi. Huh? Okay, love you. Have fun. I want to.
Suspect claims that he or she is connected to this website, which is a site that actually supports cyber stalking. The suspect even gave police their username. So basically, as you pointed out, this is a suspect admitted to intending to do harm via cyber stalking. You said you fully want to, prosecute whomever did this, and I'm assuming that suspect is still at large, right?
Yes, there's an investigation underway, and there's an even investigation into whether that's really the person that did this. But it's
a little uncomfortable that the person who did this is also on a board that goes after trans activists and not is a trans activist. Motherfucker.
Isn't it concerning that such a website exists? Like, why does that even exist?
Yeah. What is this, America? People can put up a website and
that website needs to be taken down.
Okay. So canceled, you mean?
Should be no business or.
By the way, I fuck them. I don't care. This is the first I've heard of them.
Or any kind of service where you can target your enemy. That's absolutely absurd. And this is the type of lawlessness that Democrats want all over the country.
Fuck you. These aren't Democrats, you dumb shit.
You know, the Democrats are the party of defund the police, which.
No, we're not.
Which has created.
Then that makes you the party of beat the shit out of the police.
Crime that is going out of control all over the country, but it's also failure of our government and failure of our law.
How's it failure of our government? If it was a failure of our government, you'd have died in the swatting, God forbid.
Enforcement to not take down a website like that. Like,
based on what? Again, are we now? She is, by the way, what for? Hate speech? Directing people to do stuff. Now, if somebody says they're going to do something and then they go do it, but they say they're going to do it online, is it the website's fault for encouraging them or not doing it? Yeah, bitch, you are the government. That's true. She is indeed in the government.
Like, all of these types of groups need to be completely eradicated.
Yeah, they need to be wiped off the face of the earth.
They should not be allowed to exist.
These groups should be eradicated and should not be allowed to exist. Look, if you commit a crime and you're engaged in that crime, you can be charged with that crime. But a shit-talking website, even up until the point, again, this is the woman who thinks that fucking 14-year-olds should have AR-15s. The fuck are you talking about? Sorry. Everybody should be able to open carry a gun, whether they're a citizen or not, sight unseen, never be asked where the fuck they're going, why they're walking around school grounds with an AR-15 when they're in their mid-30s. That should happen. But anybody on a website who talks shit about people should be taken out. Like, yeah, right. Like Q. Jesus.
Should not be able to abuse police resources like that.
They're not. It's illegal. They're not allowed to do it.
And police officers, we need more police officers. We don't have enough right now. They need to be able to respond to traffic accidents as real emergencies, and to calls where they've got to save someone's life, not be part of a prank or a potential, way to kill someone.
Hey, asshole, they aren't responding to a prank until they find out it's a prank. They are responding to a dangerous domestic situation, the worst kind of things a cop can show up for. More cops are killed in domestic events than almost any other circumstance, but for rampaging car accident assholes who just run over cops and shoot them and blah, blah, like these wacky dudes who, take out a couple of cops at a time. But like domestic disturbances where they have to go into fucking somebody's house in the middle of the night, especially, no, Ron. They are by no means bad, and or bastards or any of that bullshit. The ACAB stuff is nonsense.
So that has to end.
Yeah, that has to end. Okay, we need to censor our American life down to a nub.
It was very different. They were saying, "Ma'am, we're just here because of the call, following our protocols. We don't want to alarm you. We understand what's going on. We just want to check on you. Are you okay?" Which I was so grateful for them, of course, and said yes. So that was 2 nights in a row, and now there's a very serious federal investigation going on in coordination with our local.
Oh, so the government isn't failing. So you're telling me that the government is going after a crime after it was committed and going after the perpetrators of the crime and not in the business of taking down websites based on potential thought crimes. Is that where we are right now? Yeah. P.S. Hold on. One second. Crap. Hold on. I'm trying to find a version of it. Yeah, I thought I could. There you go. There's a very serious federal investigation, she says. Oh, yeah? Who's carrying it out? Who's in charge of getting to the bottom of that very serious federal investigation? Fucking hell. Yeah, August 8th, she puts this up. Sorry, let's continue.
Local police.
Well, you mentioned the investigation that's going on, but first I want to say I do agree with you that they know that, of course, that you're a supporter of the Second Amendment. They know that what they were doing. They know that it was 1 a.m. and the second time 3 a.m. I think personally that these folks hoped that you would answer the door with a gun out, with a gun in your hand. They were trying to provoke a type of situation like we've seen so many times. This is why personally that I've spoken out against red flag laws, because they're trying to provoke one of those types of situations that leads to somebody getting shot and potentially your.
What do you mean red flag laws? She's not going to get red flagged and have her guns removed because she was fucking swatted. Red flag, you have to go through the courts to do that. That'd have to be like, you'd have to do a legal swatting. It would take weeks. And you're never going to be able to do it to a fucking sitting congressman. This is garbage.
Yourself, have you given any thought to that, to the fact that this could have gone a very different way for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you point that out, Jack.
Yeah, because they could have shown up and all been strippers. Sorry.
Because that's exactly.
Where was her husband? I don't know. I know in my house, I'm the one going to the door. Hats off. I mean, I'm all for equality.
Exactly the way I thought about it. Normally in the middle of the night and even in the daytime, if I'm not expecting someone to my home, I will carry my gun with me to the front door.
Why? You have cameras, fuckhead. Do you want to just get close enough where they can take it from you? Seriously, if somebody's at your door and you don't have a glass door or a screen door or something like that, if they're within 8 feet, if you're going to pull and draw, unless you're itching to do it the entire time they're standing there, they can get the jump on you really fucking easy. So the point is if you can get again, you win every fight you don't engage in. And if you can see that there's a stranger, somebody there for you to sign for a package, blah, 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 you can tell the difference because you have cameras, and especially if in this day and age, yeah, there's cameras every fucking where. You don't walk up to the wall and go, ding, ding, ding. Who's that? Oh, it's the UPS guy. Okay, I guess I don't have to go full guns blazing. Jesus Christ.
I'm a member of Congress. I've had a lot of death threats.
Right, and you have round-the-clock security.
There's people out there that wish me harm.
I am not one of them. I want you to live a long, healthy life where you realize you've been an asshole. Is that too much to ask?
Horrible things the media has lied about me. And yeah, I'll go to the door most of the time with a gun.
Good to know.
And the fact that I had that gut feeling, even though I was very disoriented, just being woken up.
Or that you're just bullshitting us.
That something told me, don't take the gun with me. Thank God I didn't, because that is how people get killed. Just as you pointed out with red flags, that's how these awful things happen. The police do not want to do that. They don't want to make that mistake. But when
what does that have to do with red flag laws? Are about like stalkers and domestic abusers and people who are having mental health issues, like the dude who fucking shot up Highland Park had tried to commit suicide several times. Why would the fuck would you would have a red flag law so that asshole can't have a gun until he at least clears some sort of psychological counseling or has some sort of probation around that shit so that he's not going to switch from suicidal ideation to homicidal ideation. That's what that's for.
Tensions are high and
tensions are high. Yeah, you could tell. Ma'am, sorry to bother you, Marge. Yeah, we just thought we'd come down there. We got one of them calls.
And no one knows the scenario. Both parties are.
Yeah, she was awake and dressed. I don't know that she didn't just put on some shorts or whatever and head to the door, but she was by no means in a panic. She'd looked at the camera. She'd called the police. She, arguably at that hour, because she's a sitting member of Congress and she has gotten death threats, I have no doubt. Whether or not, by the way, she got them from opposition people or not is another question entirely. But at that point, you're going to, there's a bunch of cops at my door. 911. Hi, yeah, there's a bunch of cops at my door. Is there a reason for that? I'm, congressperson, blah, blah, blah. They go, yeah, we got a call of violent attack. We think you're being swatted. Officer so-and-so is going to be at the door. It's cool. We're letting him know that you're going to come to the door, that you're unarmed. Please do so. Blah, like fucking adults.
Confused about what's happening. This is how people have been accidentally killed in a swatting incident.
Which is why we're always against it. For the record, end of story, period.
And so, yeah, I think you're absolutely right to point that out. I think whoever this was doing this to me knew that very likely I would take a gun with me to the door.
Because they know me. They cared about me. They see me in a way that no one sees me.
And be so shocked with police coming to my house in this.
But your feet are so gnarly that they wouldn't have even seen the gun. They would have gone, fucking Christ, there's a bear in the house. Sorry. All right.
Manner.
Yeah, this is kind of bullshit. And by the way, this goes on for another 20 minutes. We don't need to, like, I will not cut and paste parts of arguments, but I do reserve the right to bail out if it's going to be the same random overt shit again and again. So you're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. I still have another piece that I wanted to do because of, where is it? Yeah, here we go. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching HAL SPARKS Mega Worldwide. It's proud to be here. Proud to be here with you. Glad to be here with you. It's nice. It's a good time. One of these days, I'm going to blow up my studio into a way that my hands don't disappear at the edge of my green screen. Things like that. I've got dreams. I'm a young man. I've got prospects. And in the process of growing my show, you know, one of my dream studios, of course, is the inner space computer tech super world of Glenn Beck's studio, where he just has a bunch of screens. None of them have information on them, just logos. I would use them differently, but to have access would be lovely. But there's also another version of Glenn Beck that we all know, and that's cartoons, I don't know, Mr. Robinson's universe set, some neighborhood set, something, I don't know. It's just patchwork of shit, but it's chalkboard Glenn. Glenn Beck has this chalkboard thing, and this is the fascinating part. When you're setting up your, like, we look at like Ben Shapiro's little set. It's adorable. It looks like a place where you'd buy like aromatherapy candles, and he just puts a desk in the middle of it and a sign. You know what I mean? This is that style. I think Crowder's studio kind of has that like one step up above Morning Zoo thing, but it's basically looks like the same kind of brick idea. It's fake, but it's got the brick idea, and he's got a wall of text on one side and a chair for the whoever they're interviewing on a separate camera, and then that's the whole thing. But the Blaze spends its money on optics more than any other thing, and this is convenient event. Hence, this is why the FBI raided Trump, and he's going to need the blackboard to tell us. I'm fascinated. You're disgusted. Let's do this.
Timeline for.
Hold on. I've got to back this up. The time. Oh, play it.
We're going to take you through a little time rot line from.
A time rot line. Okay, good. I always like a good time rot line. A what now?
We're going to take you through a little time rot line from.
A time rot line. Glenton's really loud. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm going to bring it down. Time fraud line. Fraud line.
Trump's departure from the White House and the classified information. Now we start right here. One day before the president left the White House, he issued this memo.
Right. That would be, hold on. That would be this guy. Memorandum on declassification of certain materials related to the FBI's Crossfire Hurricane investigation. Certain exculpatory materials. I'm going to guess he didn't declassify the stuff that went, holy fuck, this asshole really did have a link to Alpha Bank. Weird.
Trump was declassifying certain materials.
Certain. Not everything? Not all of it? All relevant? Just certain stuff. All right.
Related to the FBI Crossfire Hurricane investigation.
Oh, certain materials.
What could that be?
I don't know, but you're covering your mic, fuckstick.
Now, I want you to keep this in mind.
Okay. That will not include SI level material. More than likely.
Because President Trump has claimed that everything the FBI sees has been declassified.
No. Oh, no. Glenn, he has not. Any stuff that he declassified in here wouldn't be part of the stuff they were looking to get back. They know about this memorandum. They don't need to get it back because it's been properly declassified. Fuckstick. It's other stuff. You don't even need to look for this stuff. It's already gone through the paperwork.
Is it maybe?
Also, he said that he could declassify stuff at a whim just by saying so. Kash Patel thinks he can squat and drop a log on it and suddenly everything is magically declassified in a box of stuff. They wouldn't be saying that if it was simply this stuff. They would just release this. You think you're the only fucker who's thought of this? You think if it was this easy, Trump would have gone, they're talking about this stuff, and I already declassified that stuff. That's all they're going to find. Ugh. Pricks. The lot of them. Okay, here we go.
This? Well, as you see the timeline, I think you're going to say, yeah. January 20th, he leaves the White House, okay?
Yes. I'm sorry. Speak slower. I'm starting to chub a little.
He declassifies
Russiagate docs. Some of them. No, he doesn't. He does not declassify Russiagate docs. He declassifies certain materials. It's kind of crucial. Certain materials. At my request on December 30th, 2020, the Department of Justice provided the White House with a binder of materials related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's Crossfire Hurricane. A binder, not 27 fucking boxes. A binder. See Mitt Romney, binder full of women. Related to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Portions of the documents in the binder have remained classified and have not been released to the Congress or the public. I requested the documents so that declassification review could be performed and so I could determine to what extent materials in the binder should be released in unclassified form. I determined that the materials in that binder should be declassified to the maximum extent possible in response as a part of the iterative process of the declassification review. By the way, if you'll notice, one of the worst parts of this whole memo, you know what the worst part of this fucking memo is? There isn't one like it for all the other shit. What this points out is that he went through the process. He knew what the fucking process was. January 19th, 2021, he declassified this. They went through this. I hereby declassify the remaining materials in the binder. This is my final determination under the declassification review, and I have directed the Attorney General to implement my decision to classify materials within the binder subject to the limits identified above and does not extend to materials that must be protected from disclosure pursuant to orders of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court, does not require the disclosure of certain personally identifiable information or any other materials that must be protected from disclosure under applicable law. So even by writing this, he knows he hasn't declassified everything in the binder. Some of it is going to have to be redacted. Ya putz. It was for a binder, not 27 fucking boxes.
Declassifies all the...
God damn, he's dumb.
The Russiagate stuff. President Trump's chief of staff said most of the Russiagate documents had been sent to the DOJ for redaction. But as per Newsweek reporting, 27 boxes of material
that have nothing to do with the fucking binder that is listed in the document you're holding in your goddamn hand
had been sent accidentally to Mar-a-Lago. Remember?
By the way, for those of you asking, Glenn Beck's Reservoir Dog's name is Mr. Chicken Fingers. I'm just saying. Most people, Mr. Blonde, Mr. Pink, Mr. Black, Mr. Blue. He's Mr. Chicken Fingers.
7 boxes of material had been sent accidentally to Mar-a-Lago.
Oh, accidentally. Ew. Had they now?
Remember, this was...
Well, if it's by mistake, pack them the fuck up, send them right back. What's the fight? Why'd they sit there for a year and a fucking half?
Not the political people. This was the GAO, the Government Accounting Office. They're the ones that packed everything up. So there weren't any political people.
No. That's a lie. Hold on. Oops, hold on. Trump left White House with roughly 24 boxes of documents meant for the National Archives. The contained articles include classified documents, letters from North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, according to a new report from New York Times recapping Trump's final days in office. A new report in the New York Times confirms the former president accumulated around 24 boxes of documents in his White House residence prior to leaving office and failed to return them to the National Archives. See that? He accumulated around 24 boxes of documents and failed to return them. He kept them on fucking purpose. According to the report, where the articles ended up is not clear. Although White House counsel's office told Mark Meadows, White House counsel's office had told Mark Meadows, Mr. Trump's last chief of staff, that roughly 24 boxes worth of material in the residence needed to be sent back to the archives. Some of the boxes were shipped to Florida instead. Inside of those boxes were letters from Kim Jong-un and documents marked highly classified. The Times spoke to several people who confirmed the boxes were stored in various locations in Trump's Mar-a-Lago for the past 19 months. Prior to the recent FBI search. It's not a raid. The lengthy feature recounts Trump's final days in office as he refused to let go of power. Suggests that it was Meadows' responsibility to return the documents and the contents of the boxes to the National Archives. According to those interviewed, Meadows affirmed he would ensure the administration complied with the Presidential Records Act, which states the records generated in the Oval Office belong to the taxpayers. However, his focus was elsewhere in trying to cheat the election. They were mistakenly taken. And mistakenly kept for 19 fucking months.
Well, this kicked off conversations between Trump's team and the National Archives to find out what needed to be shipped back.
Yeah, what needed to be shipped back. They knew 27 boxes had been mistakenly sent, so it would seemingly, logically lay out that those would be the...
So let's jump ahead to this year.
Yeah, let's skip all the back and forth where they're like, motherfucker, give us our boxes back. No.
In January, Trump's team transferred 15 of the 27 boxes.
No, they didn't. They didn't transfer shit. The National Archives came and got them. This was not magnanimous on Trump's part. They showed up and took them. They went through them. They found out that there was other stuff that was taken that wasn't logged back in that must be in the other boxes.
They went to the National Archives.
That's so nice. They were so nice that they put another thing.
Now, some of those reportedly were marked classified.
Oh, yeah, weird.
We still don't know, if they were nuclear secrets or not. But part of the documents we know.
Again, that's supposed to be a mocking tone. You're right, motherfucker. We don't know.
Were declassified back in January 2020, remember?
No. A binder.
For this.
Read it. Put it up on fucking screen, you putz.
It also shows that
I was doing a lot of... Hold on one second. I have to check something. 1 second. Move this over here, if I may. There's got to be a... No, let's see. There's gotta be. No, that won't work. Hold on. Nope. Hold on, give me a second. Nope. It's not going to do. It just won't do. Give me a second. I'm being a bit of a perfectionist, but leave me alone. Oh, it won't show up as that because it's... God damn it. Where the hell is it? It has to be. They have to have. It's not going to work. This is the. It's the. Hold on. This is the best I could do. This is my Glenn Beck impersonation.
But if you look at this, the details of the thing, then absolutely. Oh, golly.
This is the best I can do as far as a Glenn Beck outfit. Sorry. Want to try my chicken? Oh. Sorry. Okay, I'm back to normal. Give me a second. All right, here we go.
That Trump's team was working with the government. So why would you take an ex-president and march people out for a raid? Well, getting ahead of my...
First of all, you didn't. There was no raid. He wasn't even there. He was at his other fucking property. It's a rental property. It's not his fucking home, etc., etc., etc.
On March 24th, in the middle of all of this, Trump stayed on track. Yeah. This is what he was really concerned about. He filed a RICO lawsuit going after Hillary Clinton and...
Yeah, that's what you do. Stay on track. In the middle of them trying to get back boxes that were allegedly taken from your... from the White House that you didn't have any right to, staying on track is... I'm sorry. So he was busy drafting that thing up and couldn't make a fucking phone call and say, come get your goddamn boxes?
Everyone else involved in Russiagate.
Russiagate. Okay, first of all, fucko, again, don't fucking hold that up to the screen. Nothing in this memorandum shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect the authority granted by law to executive department or agency to the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposed. This memorandum shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This memorandum is not intended to, does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity, by any party against the United States, its departments, agencies, entities, officers, employees, agents, or any other person. Attorney General is authorized and directed to publish this memorandum in the Federal Register. There is no other. This was for a binder of shit, and it's only portions of the binder. Stop holding up that fucking piece of paper, you putz. Yet I don't like. Why does anybody think this isn't stupid?
You know, getting justice for the collusion fiasco.
The justice for the collusion fiasco.
That had been constant.
They were always after him. All he wanted to do was finish his wall.
Now, I find it interesting that this occurred.
I find it interesting that you've got that piece of paper and you won't put it up on fucking screen and go through it page, like paragraph by paragraph, considering its importance to this entire fucking story and that it's the basis of your entire goddamn argument when it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fucking paragraphs that deal with the actual stuff. As a matter of fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4. The rest of it is all the boilerplate. Starting at section 1, ending before section 2, this is the only part that is germane to the actual stuff that is declassified. This part right here. This motherfucker cannot bring himself to put that much of this page on screen on his goddamn show. With all that production value, with all this shit, he can get a fucking punching bag and a punching clock hung where if you actually hit it, it would pull the fucking building down because it's just a set. It's not real brick. And he can get some dickhead or do it himself to draw all over this fucking chalkboard, but he can't bring up on screen the memorandum he's holding in his fucking hand to read 4 goddamn paragraphs. You know why? Because it would shit all over his argument. That's why.
At this time, Why? Well, it was just a couple of weeks later on a...
By the way, he tries to do this thing like, well, I'll let you know because it's a detail that you may not know.
April 7th, that it was leaked to the Washington Post by unnamed DOJ sources. Because, of course, the DOJ was investigating...
The DOJ, G-O-double-J?
Improper removal of presidential records at Mar-a-Lago.
Which are true, and even Trump does not dispute. None of the documents in that, by the way, none of them were from this binder. You dumb son of a bitch. Pay attention.
Now that's crazy timing, isn't it? I mean, boom, boom.
It's more like the other way around. They were engaged in all this shit. It was all related, and he tried to file something, a sour grapes lawsuit, because he was bored with golfing, and he had no intention of returning the documents. The fuck are you talking about?
Trump was trying to get Russiagate documents declassified. Some went to Mar-a-Lago, and some got sent back to the archives. Then Trump files
Yeah, but I got
lawsuit.
a couple questions for you right now, man. Hang on there, buddy. Simmer the fuck down. I got a big vocabulary, and I know a thing or two about a fucking thing or two. And one thing I know is that time is on my side, okay? But it only goes in one direction. So, you know, other people doing they shit and you're doing your shit doesn't mean your shit or their shit is related to your shit or their shit or your shit.
Regarding Russiagate. And the men in black start saying, well, maybe we should investigate because he...
You're a man in black, you dumb son of a bitch. Wait, you wearing black, dummy? You dress like somebody who's auditioning for Men in Black dinner theater. This looks like a local production of a sketch about somebody who used to be one of the Men in Black, and now he teaches high school, but he just realized that they're on to him.
He probably got nuclear secrets. In May, it was reported that the DOJ formally subpoenaed more documents.
Right. Clearly, it was after they saw his Rico Suave thing, man.
Something had them spooked, and I'm sure it had...
It might be, I'm going to go out on a limb here. What might have had them spooked is national secrets being stored at a fucking country club people can rent where a fake Rothschild is running around in a $170,000 Mercedes SUV, and damn ain't she hot. Hoo-wee.
Had nothing to do with the RICO.
Yeah, it didn't. And by the way, why wouldn't it be the other way around, dumb fuck? Why wouldn't his filing of the RICO thing, Suave? That was my song, man. That's why I wear my hair like this. RICO, Suave. Batuka-laka-lika, bataka-daka-waka, leka-daka-yaka, waka-daka-laka, RICO, Suave. Man, that was my favorite. I got so much tail. Whitetail, deer. It's not important.
Case.
Mind yourself.
You know, consider that we're not supposed to notice all of these little coincidences here.
It's not a coincidence, dumb shit. It's activity. This top part of this shit is ongoing. The whole thing. There is a direct line. The only thing that is out of the ordinary in this stuff is two things so far, besides you just being a dumb son of a bitch. One is the big by mistake underlined. Citation fucking needed, bruh. And then this Rico Suave thing. Trump throws this in just to get, look, man. Explain yourself.
Here, they're convenient coincidences.
It's not a coincidence. It's two things happening at once. It ain't a coincidence. They are incidents that happened in the same period of time.
But it's just coincidence.
It's not a coincidence, dummy. Trump did that shit on purpose, man. He was like, I'm going to get them. They coming after me for the magic records. I'm going to hit them with the Rico Suave. The chocolate and the smooth.
Now, you
lost your place, didn't you?
at this timeline, which they don't want you to do.
Well, if they don't want you to do it, they're doing a shit job because they let you do this, apparently. Maybe look, maybe you ain't supposed to see this because it's fucking hilarious.
And you say, okay.
Okay.
All right, maybe.
All right, maybe.
Then on May 12th, the Washington Post again had a leak at the DOJ. Unnamed sources, a tip at the TOJ.
At the TOJ? The Trump of Justice. The TOJ. That's what he used to call it when he was in office.
They were telling them now at the Washington Post that they were using a grand jury to issue a subpoena to the National Archives so they could see the 15 boxes that Trump teams handed over back in January. Now, why would they do that?
Because it was part of an ongoing investigation into missing documents and going through the stuff they needed to look at it to see if it matched up with the list they had of shit that had gone in the fucking wind. They got a list of like, hey, dude, we're missing like 52 Twix, 7 hard seltzers, and 9 boxes of onion rings. We got 4 things of onion rings back. The hard seltzer is still fucking in the wind. And nobody knows where this half-eaten Almond Joy came from. Where the fuck is the rest of it? I don't know, maybe it's in that box. Can we look in the box? No, you got to ask a judge. All right, let's ask the judge. Judge says yes, look at the box. No fucking Twizzlers. What the shit?
Why?
Why? Dumb motherfucker. Hey! Have you ever watched an episode of Law and fucking Order?
Why would they need to issue call together a grand jury to read documents that Trump had already turned?
They didn't, dummy. The grand jury was going to be needed to see if they could warrant looking into the fact that he had given back 15 things and kept 13 for himself. Turns out it was a lot fucking more. Here's how it goes. They don't need a grand jury to pull over your fucking car and listen to you say, there ain't nobody in the trunk. And then, lump, 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 there's somebody in the trunk. And then they find out that you got a property that you live at. And they're like, we think it's somebody else that stuck in the barn. But we need a warrant to do that. And on this scale, you'd need a grand jury to do it. That's why.
Turned over to the government.
Because there's more shit, stupid. You're missing a block. This looks like this has got more gaps in it than my smile.
Unless it was something they were afraid of.
Yeah, they're afraid of fucking national secrets getting out, dummy.
And I can't imagine what it might be. Anyway.
Again, stop referencing, you dumb son of a bitch. Everybody can see this. It ain't a binder and 15 fucking boxes.
On June 3rd...
seriously, man, this dude is fucking dumb.
The FBI went to Mar-a-Lago. They got a tour of the vault where the...
Vault, hey, man. It was a fucking storage closet. Ain't no fucking vault.
Documents were stored.
Wrong.
I hope they had...
Wrong.
...had the ground steak, because it's delicious. Anyway...
Oh, so you've been there, have you been there in the last fucking years? Like last year and a half, in the last 19 fucking months. They might want to ask you some questions, dummy. The ground steak? Did he say fucking ground steak?
The ground steak, because it's delicious.
Ground steak, motherfucker. You mean ground beef? Man, that's a problem with these rich motherfuckers. Ground steak. Eat a bag of frogs, assholes, you dumb son of a bitch. Ground beef, it's a fucking burger. Ground steak. How do you look like that and fucking eat a burger with no bun? Ground steak. Shit. You know what I like, man? I like steak tartare. I'm just fucking around. That's what we call it when we run up and play bite the cow.
Anyway, Documents were stored. They looked through them. They were allowed to look through the boxes. Again, Trump is like, whatever you want.
Whatever you want to do, except take them.
Go through the boxes. But after the DOJ looking through the docs at the archives, and now the FBI sending agents to rifle through the boxes.
Hey, what do you think the odds are? And I ain't seen this, and you ain't seen this, and we don't fucking know. What do you think the odds are that old Glenny here is going to skip the whole 60 days worth of footage of the security of the grounds that kind of set off the need for them taking this shit back? What do you think?
At Mar-a-Lago.
What do you think? He's going to do it? I think he's going to skip it. Let's see. Come on.
It looks like they're looking for something.
Yeah, the other shit, stupid. 27, dude. 27 minus 15 is 12, and then they left with 16. So he lied. He had 30 boxes.
You know, something that made them nervous. Oh, nothing's making me nervous. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah, like nuclear secrets and shit like that. Like the fucking knock list. You ain't never watched a spy movie, dumb fuck?
Trump, clearly not concerned about anything.
Yeah, he didn't give a shit. Why? He had golfing to do. I mean, he did say you can't leave with it.
Had or had already given back to the government is just standing there looking at them like they're a bunch of ridiculous apes.
Ridiculous apes. Just looking at people from the National Archives. Here, I'd give you these things, but I cannot hand over nuclear secrets to ridiculous apes. Come back when you walk upright. And I'll see you in about 127,000 years. I'm, of course, kidding. The earth is 5,000 years old. Praise Jesus.
Now, here's where things start to get even weirder.
Dude, here, you want to get weird? What's in that locker, man? What's in the locker? Come on, tell us what's in the locker. I don't think it's empty. Nobody believes it's empty. Other people are saying it's empty. They're saying it's just a prop. You're just showing off. It's just bullshit. He was like, hey, get something up here that makes me look tough. Build this set to make me look like I'm in Rocky's old gym and just for the smell. I think there's something in there. Something real James Gum, if you know what I mean. Fucking caterpillars from Suriname.
On June 19th, Trump appointed former national security official Kash Patel.
Here singing You Light Up My Life to the top of John Solomon's head. 'Cause you light up my life. You give me hope to carry on. Seriously, dude, put a hat on. The gleam is killing me. You light up my days.
And journalist John Solomon as his official representatives.
Both of whom do not have national security clearance to look at classified documents. Anybody can look at declassified shit, but they ain't qualified to look at anything that might not. And if those boxes were taken by mistake and were supposed to go to the National Archives, then those fuckers are not qualified. Where'd the RICO case go? Did it just fall off a cliff? Coincidence? I think not.
He names them Representative of the National Archive.
I dub the representative the National Archive.
Remember, for him.
Yep.
Remember, he had previously returned 15 boxes to the National Archives.
No, he had not. They came and got him. Hey, bitch, if we break up, you come get your own goddamn records. Okay? I did not put that guy's dick in you. I am not putting those records in your truck. Fuck off. Sorry, TMI.
The DOJ was concerned about them going so far as issuing a grand jury. And now Trump was...
You don't issue a grand jury, do you? I don't think that's how that works, dummy.
Sending his own guys, I assume, to see if there was any funny business going on.
Guys who legally could not look at classified materials. Okay.
Remember, Trump's primary objective here
is to file a RICO case and attack Hillary Clinton.
And we saw that when one of his last acts was to, declassify all of the documents that would show any kind of collusion.
No. Hey, dumb fuck. I might not read very well, but I read a shit ton better than you do. Certain materials in one fucking binder. A single binder of materials. That's it. A one binder of materials related to, you think all the shit in fucking all the years of Russia, there's only one binder of shit and you're not even going to release all of it? One binder, you dumb son of a bitch, not 30 goddamn boxes. Look, hey, I know we's broke up, and I know you still got your key, but when you move out of my trailer, taking my dog is not you getting your stuff.
At all with the FBI, DOJ.
Again, why are you wagging that shit? Hey, man, if I can read it, anybody can read it. Come on.
Hillary Clinton, you know, any of those people? Maybe Joe Biden?
No. Why? Joe Biden had nothing to fucking do with it, dummy. He's the vice president. He's in full retirement.
He would like them to be seen, but the government doesn't seem too keen on that.
Hey, dummy, if he declassified that binder of materials, then it is formally declassified. It don't fucking matter. Anybody can look at that shit. That is officially it. There it is. That's done. And it wasn't even the 19th. He did this on December 30th, 2020. That's this fucking thing. He went through this whole process. He didn't go over with any fucking thing else. What the fuck are you talking about?
Now, just 2 days later, on June 21st, Trump kept on track. He continued his RICO lawsuit on Hillary Clinton and everybody else that was part of Russiagate.
Why is it up in that line now? How'd it move over there? Shouldn't it be in the co-track on the bottom line? Is there anything up there? June 20th. What the fuck? Why is that related? If you got that shit and you declassified it, you still got it declassified. If you declassify that binder, you can release the whole fucking binder, dummy. It's in the records. People can check it out. You can't even stop people from looking at it.
That same day, Kash Patel did an interview where he said this.
To identify every single document. I can tell you now that I am now officially a representative for Donald Trump at the National Archives. And I'm going to march down there. I've never told anyone this because it just happened. And I'm going to identify every single document that they blocked from being declassified at the National Archives. And we are going to start putting that information out next.
No, if they blocked it from being declassified, you can't get to it because it ain't declassified. It says it in the fucking... Okay, you see that piece of paper Glenn Beck is sucking off right now? See that piece? That's this piece of paper right here. See this part right here? It said, I hereby declassify the remaining materials. This is my final determination on declassification for you, and I have directed them to do this. Now, see this other part right here? My decision to declassify materials within the binder is subject to the limits identified above and does not extend to materials that must be protected from disclosure pursuant to orders of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court and does not require the disclosure of certain personally identifiable information or any other materials that must be protected from disclosure under applicable law. Motherfucker, that's practically everything. No wonder he ain't got the fucking binder or shit. You don't have the right to declassify stuff in your dumbass fucking branded hat with the KSH for cash. You about to get tread on, son.
Next week.
Yeah, that didn't happen, dummy. People who don't have authority or classification to look at those documents sure as fuck can't walk in the National Archives and automatically declassify shit. What?
It wasn't too long later that all of a sudden, mid-July, Garland starts considering a green light on the unprecedented raid in Mar-a-Lago. Again, the word of this evening's program is convenient.
Yeah, you are conveniently reading documents by shoving them up your ass and wiggling.
We all know what happened next. The FBI.
Yeah. Kash Patel didn't do any such fucking thing.
FBI commenced with a raid on August 8th.
I know I don't know how to read very well, but that don't say raid, that says search. He called it a raid, ain't a raid. Believe me, I have been raided, let me tell you. And to Officer Jenkins, I would like to say thank you for trimming your cuticles. You're a kind man. I hope you found what you were looking for. I was unconscious most of the time, or I'd have helped.
One day after the raid, August 9th, the well-respected investigative journalist...
The well-respected...
Paul Sperry was permanently suspended on Twitter for...
Coincidence? I don't give a fuck.
Doing his job as a investigative reporter.
That's why? That was what they cited? Is doing your job as an investigative reporter now a violation of the TOS? Holy shit, I'm doomed.
He tweeted, investigators reportedly met back in June with Trump and his lawyers in Mar-a-Lago storage room to survey docs, and things seemed copacetic. Okay, true. Then the FBI raids weeks later. All true. Speculation on Hill. FBI had personal stake and searching for classified docs related to its Spygate scandal.
And that's why he was knocked off? Hold on. Let me look. I don't doubt you. I don't doubt you. Is that what he did? Continue crackdown on dissent plague of zero-hate Twitter suspends journalist Paul somebody. Feel like there's something this. Journalist Paul says Twitter ban came after viral FBI. Let's see. Suspended. Twitter suspended. He's still reporting some things, so he wasn't suspended. He claims he was not given any explanation warning before he was banned. New York Post columnist Paul Sperry following criticism of what? What did he actually say? Well, okay. Outrageous censorship. MRC. Sperry said he received a notice from Twitter saying his account had been permanently suspended. Twitter not gave a reason. Tweet was widely shared as Sperry got suspended. Funny, don't remember the FBI raiding Chappaqua or White having to find 33,000 potential classified him. She was just a former Secretary of State, not a former president. Well, this is outrageous. Okay, so that, hold on, what? I don't want to, okay, so this is developing. 9/13/8/9/22. But according to this dude, this guy, he was suspended. Twitter bans, posted, here you go. Sperry says he wasn't told why he was banned. Bet it was in his DMs. Look out now. Was he DMing his hoo-ha to people? Here you go. This is the tweet that was widely shared when Sperry got suspended. Read, funny, don't remember the FBI raiding Chappaqua or Whitehaven to find the 33,000 potential classified documents Hillary Clinton deleted, and she was just a former Secretary of State, not a former president. I'm gonna doubt that was the one. They didn't say why. But I'm gonna go out on a limb and go, at the very least, one thing we do know. Glenn Beck is lying his ass off because this dude says the reason he was kicked off is because of the other tweet, not this one. They saying it's because of this FBI one. That's coincidence. I'm just saying.
And searching for classified docs related to its Spygate scandal. Oh my gosh. He added then, in other words, the FBI might be covering their own tracks while using the Presidential Records Act as a pretext for the Mar-a-Lago search. Huh.
Yeah, but that still wasn't the tweet that got him kicked off, fucker.
What?
And we're not even sure the other one was.
Part of that got him shut down. By the way,
I'm going to go with it. He was dingle-dangling his dingly-dangle in the DMs of somebody who didn't want him. I'm going to get you that it was it wasn't what he tweeted directly. It was one of his replies. I have gotten into reply jail several times. The worst one was show us your penis at its most presidential. It's a long story, but I accidentally had I was messing around with my old Colt, and it had a magical discharge, went through one of my sacks and into my leg and bounced back up there, took a hedge of the tip off and stuff, and I put a little top hat on it and said, Abraham Lincoln. And nobody thought it was funny. Everybody got all mad at me, but I still had the picture. I still had the picture. Work with me. Okay.
Do you know one of the guys that was working for the FBI and was part of all of this stuff? He's now working at Twitter. Isn't that weird?
Probably in security.
Sperry would later publish this piece revealing that many of the FBI agents that were involved with the Russiagate thing are now...
FBI unit leading Mar-a-Lago probe earlier ran discredited Trump-Russia investigation from real clear. That's the one thing about it, man. He's real clear. Real clear investigations. Let's take a look at that. How clear can we get? Real clear. Real fucking clear. The chocolate and the smooth. Investigations. Paul. Spare parts. FBI unit. I just told a story about my unit. Ran discredited Trump. Here you go. It's the same. That's weird. Different picture. Real clear defense. It's on the same. Real clear. It's on the same. They have them all. Oh, shit. Where'd it go? Close that down. Shut up. Hey, where'd it go? Man, it. Real clear investigations. And then you got to go in there. Here you go. Hold on. Oh, here you go. Found it. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's the same fucking picture. FBI unit leading Mar-a-Lago, which means from the ocean to the sea. Just so you know. Ran discredited Trump. Okay. The FBI division overseeing the investigation of former President John classified material Mar-a-Lago is also focused Special Counsel John Durham's investigation Bureau's alleged abuses of power, political bias during the Russia group. The FBI's 9-hour, 30-agent raid of it wasn't a raid, but sure, the former president's Florida staged part of a counterintelligence case where I was not Miami had been wilder. Well, yeah, it's national security. So the same people who thought he was fucking around with Russia, this would also deal with like loose secrets that were in the wind and possibly foreign people were getting a hold on them. Of course, it's the same fucking people. Although the former head of Crossfire Hurricane, Peter Strzok, was fired after the disclosure of his vitriolic anti-Trump tweets. Yeah, in public. Several members of his team remain working in the counterintelligence unit. The sources say even though they are under active investigation by Durham and the Bureau's disciplinary arm, Office of Professional Responsibility, the FBI declined to respond to questions about any role they may be taking or not taking. We'll just assume they is. In addition, a key member of the Crossfire team, Supervisory IAA Brian Alton, has continued to be involved in politically sensitive investigations involving the ongoing federal probe of potentially incriminating content found on the abandoned laptop President Biden's son, according to recent correspondence between the Senate Judiciary Committee and FBI Director Chris Roy. FBI whistleblowers alleged that Alton tried to falsely discredit derogatory evidence against Hunter Biden. Evidence? What do you mean? The laptop. Show us the laptop, you motherfucker. Hold on. I'm excited. What's this say? Who's this from? Dear Attorney General Garland and Director Wray, I wrote you regarding the likely violation of federal laws, regulations, Federal Bureau of Investigation guidelines by assistant agent in charge, Isaac Timothy Thimbault of the Washington Field, based on a pattern of active public partisanship in his public social media content. In that letter, I noted that Congress has a constitutional responsibility to ensure the executive branch execute abuse, gross mismanagement, blah bitty fucking blah. The information provided to my office involves concerns about the FBI's receipt and use of derogatory information related to Hunter Biden and the FBI's false portrayal of acquired evidence as disinformation. The volume and consistency of the data substantiate the credibility and necessity of this letter. First, it's been alleged that the FBI developed information in 2020 about Hunter Biden's criminal, financial, and related activity. That's not the fucking... That's different from the laptop, though. It is further alleged that in August 2020, FBI intelligence agent Brian Alton opened an assessment which was used by FBI headquarters team to improperly discredit negative Hunter Biden information as disinformation and cause investigative activity to cease. Based on allegations, verified and verifiable derogatory information on Hunter Biden has falsely labeled as disinformation. Verified as what? The basis for how the FBI HQ teams selected the specific information for inclusion in Alton's assessment is unknown, but in more than one instance, focus FBI HQ team attention involved director. According to the allegations provided to my office, appear to indicate there was a scheme in place among certain FBI officials. Importantly, it's been alleged in my office by someone, wankety fucking wank, that true upon trueness it's been alleged that Alton's assessment was opened in August 2020, which is the same month that Senator Johnson and I received Senator Johnson and I received an unsolicited and unnecessary briefing from the FBI that purportedly related to our Biden investigation, and a briefing for which contents were later leaked in order to paint the investigation in a false light. Oh, that was the, hey, by the way, guys, that's bullshit. As Senator Johnson and I have publicly noted on our Johnsons, on July 13th, 20 of the 20, then Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator Mark Warner, Nancy Pelosi, and Adam Schiff sent a letter with a classified attachment to the FBI to express purported belief that Congress was the subject of a foreign disinfo campaign. The July 13, 2020 and 20 letter included unclassified elements that, among other things, unsuccessfully attempt to tie our investigative work to foreign disinformation. Those unclassified elements were later leaked to the press to try and smear our Biden investigation as unrelated foreign disinformation. Then on July 16, 2020, then Ranking Member Peters and Ranking Members Wyden requested a brief on matters related to my and Senator Johnson's Biden investigation from the very same HQ team that discredited the derogatory Hunter Biden information. Notice my total lack of using the phrase laptop. Don't let that bug you. Don't think for a second that the fact that I have not mentioned the laptop in its material form so far point you in the direction that it don't fucking exist. And that I can't write a letter like this and answer to it later legally without a whole hell dropping on me. Where was it? Oh, efforts by the FBI team and efforts by the FBI to provide an unnecessary briefing to me and Senator Johnson about our Johnsons that provided our Dem colleagues fodder to falsely accuse us of advancing foreign disinfo draw serious concern. No foreign government in their right mind would trust me and my Johnson, Mr. Johnson, Senator Johnson, or his Johnson, as it matters, whatever the fuck, with real information. Shh, come on. Second, it's been alleged that in September 2020, investigators from the same HQ were in communication with FBI agents responsible for the Hunter Biden information targeted by Alton's assessment. Notice they ain't talking about the laptop. They's talking about the tax thing. Why aren't you bringing up the laptop? Why don't you say laptop in your fucking letter? Maybe it'll be in there. Let's see. FBI HQ team investigator placed their findings with respect to weather reporting was there's a lot of big fucking words in this. I'm going to get a nosebleed. Access subfile reviewable only by the particular agent responsible for uncovering the specific information. This is problematic because it does not allow for proper oversight and opens the door to improper influence. Yeah, you can't have like a hard drive floating around, let somebody dick with it for years and then try to use it as evidence. Could you? Only an asshole would try that. Third, get over it, buddy. In October 2020, an avenue of additional derogatory Hunter Biden reporting was ordered closed on the direction of asshat, Thimbalt. My office has been made aware that FBI agents responsible for this information were interviewed by the FBI HQ team in furtherance of Alton's assessment. It's been alleged that FBI HQ suggested to the FBI agents that the information was a risk of disinformation. However, according to allegations, all of the reporting was either verified or verifiable via criminal search warrants. So they ain't talking about the laptop. In addition, they want you to think they talk about the laptop. They ain't talking about the laptop. In addition, asshat Thinbout over here allegedly ordered the matter closed without providing a valid reason as required by our FBI guidelines. They got to send me a piece of paper that says, this is a bunch of shit, and stamp it. Come on. Despite the matter being closed in such a way, investigation but later it's alleged the FBI officials, including the asshat Thinbout and his buddies, subsequently attempted to improperly mark the matter in the FBI system so that it could not be opened in the future by putting closed on there. Aforementioned allegations put a finer point. Okay, in light of serious allegations, my ongoing investigation, Judge Barton, I expect to provide the following. I want all this shit. I want the case file for the out and assessment. I want all the records derived from reporting on derogatory information linked to Hunter Biden, James Biden, and other foreign business relationships that's been overseen under the approval guidance purview of asshat Thinbout from January 1st, 2020 to the present. All records related to derogatory information on Hunter Biden, James Biden, and their foreign business relationship. What if it's fake? If it's fake, it ain't derogatory. Know what I mean? Like a lie ain't derogatory. It just, once it's found out to be a lie. And if I know it's a lie, I know it's fake, then it ain't derogatory, it's just a lie. It says more about you as the liar than it says about the person you lying on. All leads sent to all of them, fuck man, you want these assholes to do your work for you? WFO that were under the purview of asshat Thinbout, that were closed by the asshat Thinbout and denied for opening by the DOJ Public Integrity Section. Oh, hey man, that's Chuck Grassley. I like Chuck Grassley. He talks like he's got a mouth full of marbles. He talks like this. I like that Chuck Grassley fella. He's the kind of guy sounds like he'll give you the directions that'll lead you the opposite way of the barn. You know what I mean? That's how that Chuck Grassley comes in there. All open and closed cases initiated by the What the Fuck organization that were under the purview of asshat Thinbout or closed by asshat Thinbout and denied for the open and just part. With respect to the August 2020 briefing given to Senator Johnson and me, we need that FBI 302. We need that intelligence report, products, and analysis that form basis of that briefing. The names of the persons who recommended Senator Johnson and I be briefed. Because they called us some names that, quite frankly, they struck home. I'm not going to lie. They felt very personal. A description of the process for deciding to brief us, it just said, tell all these dumbasses what's up. And they, obviously, you guys popped right to the top of the list. That's how all records, including emails related to the briefing. Everything. Motherfucker is suing everybody in there. The Judiciary Committee's got to ask for that stuff. I don't know that you can get it all, dummy. But that's what's up.
Now leading the investigation on Mar-a-Lago. Wait. Did you hear that?
No, they're not. Hey, dummy. Stupid. It's the same fucking department. National secrets, spies, all that kind of stuff. Same fucking people handle this, dummy. Don't back the fuck up.
It wasn't just me, right?
Yeah, it's just you, stupid.
Last week.
By the way, I feel bad for that cameraman. Because that smell is not going to come out quick.
Last week.
August
17th. That's when he put that, because Newsweek also reported that the FBI was in search of documents that included Trump's collection of papers showing who was involved in Russiagate.
Hold on. August 17th, Newsweek. Let's give it a look. Maybe he's telling the truth. August 17, 2022, Newsweek, Mar-a-Lago. Affidavit may have damning information. Well, there's a couple of stories. Hold on. Give me a second. First of all, let me open this one. Then there's this one. Hold on. That's 8/25. Come on. Give me, I don't want to be up to date. I want the exact date, you dumb son of a bitch. Here it is. Oh, I see. So, this is supposed to be a gotcha. Right? Is that your gotcha face? Well, get your pull, son. FBI saw documents Trump hoarded for years, including about Russiagate. Okay. So, including, like, who snitched on him and shit. Including, this is the article he's talking about. Now, you can't tell this whole August 12th thing, Newsweek report, or August 17th, rather. You look at that, it just says Newsweek report. And then he wagged his little thing at it, and that's that. Okay, let's take a look then. Man, all this reading's making my fucking brain hurt. I got a cramp. Here you go. Hey, look who. Ooh. Damn, man. Hey, if they're going to use that much base, get some lip balm afterwards, because it'll take the edge of that makeup off the edges of your lips. That's nasty. Also, they getting it into your eyebrows. It makes it all crusty. You look like a crazy grandma. The FBI raid on Mar-a-Lago last Monday was specifically intended to recover Donald Trump's personal stash of hidden documents. Two high-level U.S. intelligence officials tell Newsweek. Man, these motherfuckers love anonymous sources when it points their direction, but they can't stand them when it goes the other way. To justify the unprecedented raid, it was a fucking search. It wasn't no raid. They didn't come in through the skylights on black ropes going zzz and flopping down there like Christmas Vacation, man. Way she puts her hand on his crotch. Anyways, memories like the... All right. To justify and protect the source who revealed the existence of Trump's private hoard. Agents went to Trump's residence on the pretext... it's his club. On the pretext they were seeking all government documents, says one official who's been involved in this. But the true target was his private stash, which Justice Department officials feared Trump might weaponize. Uh-oh. Dumpity-dump. They collected everything that rightfully belonged to the U.S. government, but the true target was these documents Trump had been collecting since early in his administration. Says a source who was granted anonymity to discuss sensitive issues. By who? By you guys? He wasn't just granted an anonymity by the fucking FBI. The sought-after documents deal with a variety of intelligence matters of interest to the former president, including material that Trump apparently thought would exonerate him of any claims, Russian collusions, or anything. When Trump left the White House in 2021, many of the normal process of transition were not followed, especially because the president would not admit he had lost the election. As a result, we now know some 42 boxes. The fuck? 42? Were shipped to Mar-a-Lago by mistake. Official papers under U.S. law, which the National Archives is supposed to take custody of and catalog. Whose mistake? Kash Patel's? Over the past 18 months, Trump camp and the archives were engaged in a back and forth, which resulted in a return of 15 boxes of the 42. 42? That means they still got 27 of these motherfuckers? I thought they was half in this mistake. 42 boxes by mistake. She's leaving you. Over the past 18 months, Trump camp and archives had 15 boxes. As late as June 3rd, when officials from the FBI and the Justice visited Mar-a-Lago to serve a grand jury subpoena for specific, the negotiations were largely cordial. How do? Well, how do? Can I have my boxes back? No, you may not. Well, could I visit the omelet bar as I show myself out? Absolutely. Lay off the ketchup. We don't have that much left over. All righty then. But in the course of its investigation, the FBI and Justice became aware of Trump's private collection. As Newsweek previously reported, a confidential human source revealed that the former president wasn't planning to divulge that he had possession of some of his own documents and that he did not intend to return them. Trump mentioned, then he wasn't going through them to exonerate himself. If he didn't, he had them and he wasn't going to return them, and he wasn't going to show them. Maybe they don't, I don't know, maybe. I'm going to go out on a fucking limb here and say they don't exonerate him. Fuck me. Washington Post reported that those documents dealt with nuclear weapons, adding on Tuesday, people familiar with the investigation did not offer additional details, such as whether the documents being sought involved weapons belonging to the United States or another nation. Torah pages from IT reports took away documents which interested him to his residence. Most of these documents had the potential to reveal U.S. intelligence sources and methods. Two U.S. officials with direct knowledge of the situation tell Newsweek, I got it, that while some of the intelligence documents might have dealt with nuclear weapons, that was not the main focus. There's just a few pages of nuclear secrets in there. It wasn't the main thing. Donald Trump kept documents that interested him. One of those, sometimes Iranian or North Korean nukes, sometimes Ukraine or Russia, some foreign leaders. Fucking hell, man. He's got a blackmail file on world leaders. Cha-ching, motherfucker. It wasn't subject per se that was of interest to justice, as it was fear that Trump might weaponize the information, including for personal gain. Right. He's selling that shit. They was worried he was going to sell it. Trump was particularly interested in matters related to Russia hoax and the wrongdoings of the deep state, one former Trump official tells Newsweek. I think he felt, and I agree, that these are facts that American people need to know. Well, then why is he hiding them in fucking boxes? Why didn't he declassify them with the other shit from the binder? Official says Trump may have been planning to use them as part of a 2024 run for the presidency. You don't fucking say. No wonder fucking... He's got tapes on Lindsay, on Miss Lindsay.
Now, I don't know about you.
I know that.
But you look at the timeline, and it looks like they're looking for these papers.
No, it don't, you dumb motherfucker. They's already declassified. You can go down there anytime you fucking want and look at the stuff that was in that binder. You can go to the National Archives. You're allowed. They've been declassified. That's what that piece of paper is legally fucking binding. They can't get them things back. You dumb fuck. They can't. As a matter of fact, it's a guarantee it ain't that shit. Holy hell, man. It's proof. By the way, this piece of paper is proof that this motherfucker knows how to declassify stuff properly without just like waving his fucking hand over it like he's Voldemort or some shit. What a dumbass. Tiresome. Well, I am craving KFC now, though. Hi, by the way, you're watching HAL Sparks Mega Worldwide. Thanks for sticking around. I went late tonight. I had other stuff. I have one that I don't have time to do tonight, but as a tease, we might have to cover this tomorrow. We just might have to. Bongholio, many of you might know, recently, well, I'll just show you if I may. Let's see if I can grab this. Shit, hold on. Shouldn't be that hard. Yeah, here you go. So obviously, Bongholio, I'm still talking like Vegas, has gotten tired of me calling him Bongholio, who's looking for TP for his bunghole, because he, like a true man, like an alpha, blocked me. He blocked me. Because that's how you do it, right? I don't know how the buttons work. You just go, and it blocks the person. Is that how it writes? It's like peacocking in reverse. Blocked me. Somebody blocked me. So we kind of have to cover him now. Even when they're putting I guess that's the smoothing filter on him. This is the same filter they use on wait, yeah, it's on there. Oh boy, is it. They didn't want to do makeup that day, so they just used the filter. But Bongholio thinks apparently that the country is going bankrupt. Just for the record, we ain't. I'm just going to put that out there. Look at this jackass. Look at this jackass. I have to watch it. I'm not looking at any more of this. I don't know what the fuck is happening here. Ass. Something about sitting on their ass. And I'm not even going to look. I don't want to know. But this dickhead thinks, by the way, I think that's the Syria bombing footage. But we have to watch this tomorrow. Yeah, oh my God, Glenn did his graphics, exactly. So, I'm going to save that one for tomorrow. And, I'm going to try and, shuffle some stuff around and do some fresh, get some fresh meat tomorrow. Hello. For the show. But until then, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for your support. If you can, in any way, support the show, please do. Patreon.com/HalSparks. Next month is my birthday month. September 25th is my birthday. I will be in Chicago for half the day. Anyways, because we are doing the Sexy Liberal the night before. So I'm having I'm going to have like an early birthday party in Chicago for the Sexy Liberal thing. And then have one here. And we'll make it happen. But I want to, if you feel like becoming a once a year patron where you can, do it in one fell swoop and pick at any level, please do. That would be lovely. That will help support the show. And if you want to save up till next month, I completely understand and appreciate that more than you know. But at the very least, there's Venmo. And you can, and Twitch. Don't forget to subscribe on Twitch. Subscribe, Twitchers, share, and all the kind of stuff that yeah. And then, of course, share the show out there. Because you know what I haven't done? Before I go out the door, and this guy, I'm always doing these fucking, it's always, you can't stop me. We are we there yet? We're almost there. 39,284. We're almost 700 more subscribers and change. And we're at 40,000. So subscribe, pass the show around, let people know, share. I'm so excited. A little under 800 and we're there. Come on. My show is not anywhere near as big as some of the shows that any of the shows that I'm going after, frankly. I'm in no way in any format punching down in the world of online media. Ever, not ever. Even when it comes to Jimmy Dore and TYT or Russell Brand or maybe with RAV. No, I'm kidding. Flashpoint, RAV, OAN, all of them have millions upon millions upon millions of dollars. I will never, ever get to have the studio that I truly believe I deserve without your help. So the easiest thing, like I said, is just give a thumbs up, help us in the algorithm, and support the show by spreading it out to people that might watch it and enjoy it and that kind of stuff. Oh, boy. TYT was bashing Democrats again today, Pal. We'll give them a shot tomorrow. How about that? I'm not going to watch the clips ahead of time, but we'll get some. Yeah, this was a long show. And no bots. Pretty great. Awesome. Anyways, give a thumbs up on your way out the door. Thank you guys so much for supporting. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Subathon is a great idea, Sarah. Chip wanted to say bye. Say bye, Chip. Say bye. Bye. Okay, he wants a snack now. Okay, bye.